Welcome to the Merry Boozers channel, guys.
Yeah, welcome to Hanging with the Boozers.
It's something. We haven't figured out exactly. We're thinking Boozers Barracks for the show name.
But we want to say thank you for coming by and spending your Sunday evening with us.
Yeah, as always, guys, I mean, we really do appreciate it. We've got a really jam-packed show tonight. Lots of guests. It's going to be an awesome show, and we are super excited. Me and Papa have been working on a lot of airplanes this week, getting ready for Joe Knoll. We've got the Storches ready now to fly again. We were going to fly it this weekend, but the weather just wasn't great for us.
Yeah, we missed the tropical storm that's
it turned around and left us again.
Whatever, but
we've got the A4. We finished building that. Yep. The F104 is ready, so we're just waiting on a good day to fly all this stuff. It's going to be great. And now we have our beautiful Marlin here. It's going to be an amazing thing, and we have some exciting stuff coming up next weekend. I can't tell you about it yet, but I am super excited for it, guys. Y'all be ready.
Yeah, y'all come by the Boozers on Sunday night. I think you'll really be excited to see what we're going to do.
Can't tell you what it is, but it's exciting. We're really excited for it. So we do have our first guest already lined up. I'm going to go on and ask him to unmute his microphone, and we're going to get him on the screen.
Hello, Reckham.
Hey, Reckham, Roy, nice to see you.
Hey, I can actually see what you're putting up, so
Yeah,
watch what
awesome.
you say about me, because I can actually read this thing now.
So let's get our first guest in. This is from the Light Burner LED. I have some of them sitting out here in front of us, and we're going to talk to him about his product tonight, guys. Maybe.
Here we go.
So say hi to everybody. Have you unmuted?
Hey guys, well, thank you for having me in your show.
There we go.
Hey, it's a pleasure to have you, man.
We really are excited about your products.
Yeah.
And
thank you. So, I've been flying.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I've been flying EDF jets for many years now, and the one thing that always bothered me about EDF jets, as they become more and more scale-like, is the lack of go fast afterburners coming from coming from the manufacturers. We've seen few types of afterburner rings, but they are mostly cool on the ground. You can't really see them on the sky.
Mm-hmm.
So about a couple of years ago, I thought that I felt that I can do that better. I felt that the market deserves an affordable and scale-looking EDF unit. So this is where I came up with the first generation of the light burner. And what you see today, those type of units today, those are actually third generation. This is the birthchild of many months of research, looking for the best EDF unit. The best LED unit that will generate will be as efficient as possible, but still won't consume too much of energy out of your pack.
Yeah. And the way you package this is super slick. Guys, this is a plug-and-play kit that I mean, plug and play, super easy. And I'm going to hook one up here on the table for you tonight. Man, the way you designed this, I mean, it's slick, guys. I mean, you're looking at the whole unit right there. There it is.
Right. So one of the main concepts over here in this unit is the easiness of installing that. It's very important to me that this unit would be a plug and play. And over here I have a standard free-wing 90mm fan with the cone removed, and basically the unit just snaps on the back of the fan, and that's it.
Here we're gonna make you a little bigger so everybody can see what you're showing right now. Give us just a second. And make him full screen, and there you go. Okay, show those guys what you were showing there.
Exactly. So this is the free-wing fan, the standard 90mm free-wing fan. Over here, what I have is my dual LED setup that was designed for planes like the F-22, the F-18, and the F-15 with the F-4 with the dual exhaust. This actually brings a new level of scale look, because you do, in a dual exhaust type or dual tailpipe jets, you do have dual engines in the full scale ones. In Do 1, the afterburner looked like two
Right.
flames burning at the back of the plane. So anyway, this is the 90mm fan from Freewing
Too quiet now.
with the cone removed. I have a custom-made adapter over here, which fits directly instead of the on the back of the EDF unit, and it's been secured by a zip tie, and that's it. And that is the installation process. That's it. In order to light or turn on the light, we have a controller that controls the afterburner. The controller connects to the LED unit over here, and then what I'm using over here is the a servo tester that is plugged to a battery over here, and the EDF basically plugs over here with the directly to the balance plug. It takes 6S, plugs directly to the balance plug, and that's it. And this is the unit over here. It's extremely bright, so I'm gonna have to look away because this is. So when it comes to LEDs, this is super bright, by the way. I do not recommend people looking directly into those units. It's all about how many luminous units can you get for a unit of for a power unit, electricity power unit, and those LEDs are the latest in technology when it comes to their efficiency. Although they consume about 7 watts of energy, they are extremely bright.
You can keep talking. I'm just showing the guys the product.
Yeah, exactly. So those are extremely bright LEDs. The other thing, I wanted to make those units affordable, and they are priced quite well in the market. They are at $50 for a single type LED, which is this one, and $65 for a dual type LED like this. They come ready to install with all the hardware, including the controller and everything, with free shipping nationwide. But although they are designed to be affordable, they are made out of the best quality materials. All the wires, all the leads over here are silicon leads. The controller has reverse polarity protection as well, and they were designed to last. I do have multiple types of adapters for multiple fans. This is the FMS E-Flight NFMS adapter, which sits on the back of the motor. This is quite new for the light burner. This is the Freewing Outrunner 70mm fan, and this has a unique adapter for it, which actually just snaps in to place, and that's it. Secured with zip tight, and that's it. That's the whole story.
Right.
So this only works on 6S, right?
Well, actually, I do have a version that works on for up to 12S. They do need a different controller, although you can still light them with the regular 6S controller, but they do require some attention on the way you plug the battery. But I do have an 8S and a 12S version of the controller that will plug directly to your main battery output.
Okay. But 6S is the minimum that you would use.
So you can actually use less than that. You can actually use you can use 3S if you like to, but it is recommended to use that directly from the balance plug of the battery. Just makes life easier.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to hook mine up right now. I had it working earlier. Of course, now that I'm trying to do it on the table, it's not working. Never fails. What am I doing wrong here? Okay, signal. Power. Alright, I'm going to try it one more time. If not, I'll try and hook it up again.
We have a question. It says, do you put these afterburners on a separate battery?
No, you don't have to. You can power them directly from your main battery. The idea is to take the power source. Here you go. Yeah, you got them set up.
Yep.
So show how you plug it in.
You've got a power system. So Yeah, just to show you guys, this would be your actual 6S battery, and you hook your balance lead to the module, and then this would be my receiver right here being wide into it, just to kind of show you. I'm just simulating it right now. But there's the pack right there, and then, like I said, it comes on kind of soft, and it kind of flickers a little bit, and then it goes. I mean, it's bright. When it's at full brightness, that is blaring.
So the question to me is, when does it come on? What throttle setting would it first come on?
About half.
About half. So there's your.
Well, about 60% roll. Yeah. The idea is that in a full scale jet, they only come on the upper scale of the throttle. So I wanted to simulate that in one hand. On the other hand, we don't really fly full gas all the time, right?
No.
So the idea is to have the afterburner just comes a bit after 50%, after half.
Well, it's to simulate an afterburner. I mean, when you go through full go throttle in a jet is when you get the afterburner, and that's really what it's simulating.
Here's the single, Laura.
But it's great. I mean, if you have my opinion, and I have my
Here's the
opinion,
single, guys.
but if you have a jet, it's just almost have to have a burner now.
It looks so neat
It's
inside of
just
them now.
so neat, guys, and these are to me affordable. Now the sound systems, I think, is just a little bit out of my. I can't get there with a sound system, but this here on my jets, I will have one.
Oh yeah, this is too cool.
And the other thing, this is almost has almost no weight to the plane as well. They weigh about 1.5 ounce,
Yep.
which is nothing. They do not affect your CG. They do not require an additional equipment, again, like additional battery. Just plug them into your main power source, and you're good to go.
And
We
Eric,
have another question.
Yeah, he's asking, does this drain the battery? I know that it's
You
not going
answered
to
that
be.
originally, but would you go through that again?
Not a lot of power drain on this. I mean,
Well, they are about 7 watts.
right.
So if you calculate 7 watts to 25, roughly 25 volts, this is almost nothing.
Diddly.
Right.
This is less than your couple of digital servos.
So you guys out there, I really do not think there's an issue as far as the power usage on your battery.
Especially when you're talking about your ESC is pulling 80 to 100 amps.
Right.
Versus
So
this.
7
I mean,
watts-
you're not even
7
going to
watts
notice
is
it.
Nothing. So don't worry about that, guys.
And Dennis Farley, the amp draw on the battery, you just answered that it was around 7 watts, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So you're not talking
Those
a
are
lot,
extremely
guys.
efficient.
Yeah, you're not
And they are
talking a lot.
extremely bright, by the way, on full daylight as well.
Oh my gosh. Turned it on right now. I don't know if you can actually tell, but I mean, you cannot
cannot
look
look
at this
at it.
thing.
I mean, you cannot.
You're going
No,
black.
well, actually, it shouldn't look. I actually hurt my eyes the other day when I tested them, and I'm ashamed to say, but I'm actually wearing sunglasses when I do my testing.
You know, the other cool thing I noticed is that I've had this question a lot from guys is, do they get so hot you can't touch them? No, they don't have to have air flowing over these guys. I get this question all the time about afterburners. And I know some of them you do, but this one, I mean, it's cold to the touch. It got just a hair warm, but nothing crazy. I mean, I can touch all over it now. Y'all saw me running it.
Now we do have the
They don't
man
get
that
hot.
developed this, and I'm going to ask him this question: is there a specific color that is the best to paint up in the exhaust system for reflection? Or do you need? Or do you even need to paint?
Yeah.
I guess there is a lot of debate when it comes to the color of the flames coming out of the afterburner. The color of the flame is actually similar, indicates the temperature of the flames. Growing up around airplanes as well, myself, I've seen plenty of afterburners, and they are best seen when they are bright orange.
Right. What he's talking about is a lot of guys are talking about painting the inside of the airplane silver or white. What I've heard is the best color you can use is white, actually, for the reflection, not silver.
Or do you even recommend doing that?
Or do you recommend even painting on?
Is it they're so bright. I
Well,
don't
you
even know
know,
if
those units when they come out of the box, they are bright enough to be seen without painting the inside of the paint.
Gary.
Although I do recommend painting with some kind of reflective material, or paint, or covering the inside with some kind of reflective material.
Uh-huh.
There is some debate whether using a paint or using a tin foil or an aluminum foil. I feel that covering the inside brings definitely it shines better, and it shows better in the air, and then it prevents from the light leaking out of the foam
Right.
when you fly the airplane in dusk or in early morning.
It really does add something, guys. If you haven't ever seen one of these afterburners in person, I mean, the first time I saw one was at Florida Jets, and I was like, wow, that's neat. Yeah, that's really a neat little feature to put on there. And these are pretty reasonable priced, as you see. And guys, he's got the website up on the screen for you. He's got numerous amounts of these.
And Deuces Wild says that he
has one on his
light
MiG.
burner on his MiG, and he's painted his silver on the inside, reflective silver. And I guess he's getting a good.
I've heard, like I said, I've heard multiples. All right, and I think he's hooking up his F-22 guys for you to see it here in front of him. But I've heard white is a great color to do it because it glows around in there and it reflects a lot. But I've also seen guys saying that the silver tape looks really cool in there, like the stuff that they use for
it would be real easy
air
on most of
conditioners.
those jets before you glue
There you
the
go,
tail
guys.
on it.
Check it
put
out.
that
I mean,
silver
look at that
stuff on
thing.
the
It
inside.
glows like crazy.
I don't see why you'd have to have anything. I mean, they are that bright.
So this is guys, this is as natural as it comes. This doesn't have any insulation inside. Doesn't have any color inside.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, you can see it, guys. It looks so cool, though,
Yeah.
especially in an evening hour time. I would rather have this than nav lights any day of the week. I've got one on my Flex Jet that looks really neat now, and I've got the one here for my F-16, and I can't wait to put it in there. And I've got the F-18 one here in front of me, and they're just so cool looking, guys.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to have these on your airplanes.
Like I said, if you got a jet, you gotta have one. That's all I can say.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, this isn't even complicated to put in either.
No.
Drop your fan out,
No.
stick this thing on the back, and you're good to go. I mean, it's that easy. And run the wire up to the front of the airplane. I think the hardest part of the whole install is just running this piece to the front.
Yeah.
And that's really not that hard.
No.
I tend to agree. Yeah.
But yeah, it's too cool, guys. And for $50 on your big $400 EDFs, man, you gotta have one.
Have we got a link to put on?
Yeah, it's already up there, guys. If I haven't said it yet, the light burner LED, his link is in the description right now. If you want to go check out his product, feel free after the show. Also, if you want to, go to his website, get one of these. You're not going to be disappointed. The light burners are awesome, guys. I'm going to try and bring one of these to Joe Knoll with me to make sure that you guys can see them. I think they're awesome. Definitely an upgrade worth doing. And then the fan I've got here in front of me is an in-runner, but you also make these for outrunners. I don't know if Lori has. Okay, there you go. You got one right there in front of you. So these work on both, guys. So I have the in-runner version here. He's got the outrunner version sitting there in front of him. So they do make them for both motors, too. And then the other neat thing I see on his is they're all custom fit for the airplane. So if you've got one... If you've got a free wing jet that you were like, oh man, I really want this one, from what I understand, you'll make one to make it fit that airplane.
Yep.
Yep.
So when if I were to go into your web page and want to order one, and I know Wesley has done it, but I haven't. But you go in there, do you tell you what type of an airplane that you're putting it on? Okay,
we'll pop it up there for you to see it right here.
That answers the question for some of these guys.
Yeah, let's pop it up here, and there's his website right here. We'll let you talk it through him. Laura, you can point for him.
Let's talk about how you'd order one. So it looks like it's...
So it's quite simple. Just go to my website, which is thelightburner.co. Go to the shop section. And then they are actually filtered by the manufacturer. So I've got a couple FMS units. I have E-flight unit over there. I have Freewing, and so on. And then even I have a unit for the Avios MiG-17.
Yes.
And then if you don't see your plane over there, you can go and show by power system. You can actually filter that by a power system, and get a list of your power system manufacturer. I do have EDF units for the JP fan, for the FMS fan, for the Freewing fans, for the E-flights, for the Avios, name it, I have it over there.
Awesome. Awesome. So yeah, guys, like I said, definitely check this guy out. He has some amazing stuff. We've really been happy with what he sent us. He did send us these to try out, and I have been super pumped with them. And I've got to get mine in my E-flight F-16. So he sent me one for my E-flight F-16, and he sent me one for the F-18. I'm going to definitely put one in the F-104 after seeing these things. These are a must for every one of my airplanes. I mean, they're just that cool. Can you ask the question for me? Does the light flicker like a real AB, or is it steady? So, okay, we've got a question from Dave Kolwischke. Can you ask the question for me? When the afterburner is on, does it flicker like a real afterburner, or is it steady? When I've turned mine on,
it flickers when it comes on.
It kind of flickers.
I think you can test it. You can show it
Right.
over there. It flickers when it comes on.
Here, I'll turn it on again.
And then it goes steady.
Right, it flickers a little bit when it first comes on, guys. Hang on, I'm trying to hook it all back up here a second. I don't want to hook this up backwards because smoke comes out then. Let's see, positive to positive, and there we go. And then you have to run it up, down, and then, oh, what am I doing wrong? All right, hang on. I did something wrong.
You didn't let the smoke out, did you?
No.
Okay.
I always do this. And I'm running it with a servo checker instead of an actual. There we go. You got to put it on in a certain order. Okay,
You want me to
grab
hold
that
something?
battery right there.
Okay, we go.
Here we go. Show it again. So as it starts to come on, I don't know if this is going to translate in camera.
It's kind of hard to see in the camera, yeah.
Yeah, but you can see it
There
kind
you
of.
go. There's the
It
flicker.
pulsates. I don't know if you can see that in
pulsates,
camera or
flickers
not.
Just a little bit.
Right as it's coming on, though, it kind of pulsates. And then it goes into the full brightness. So if y'all can see that, it's kind of a hard thing to show, but it is pulsating right now. See, it's still pulsating right now. I don't know if you can see that or not. But the cool thing here is a lot of guys ask me, it's not hot. I'm touching it right to my skin right now. A lot of guys ask if you could have this on without the fan blowing over it.
And
And
another
yes.
thing, guys, is when it does come on, you're going to have
look at
air
this
going
thing.
across it like
Whoosh.
crazy. Because
I mean,
this
it's
only comes
bright.
on at half throttle.
Right.
So there's going to be air going across that, so no problem as far as keeping it cool.
I mean, it's bright, guys.
It
Look
is
at this.
bright.
I mean, it's bright. Anyway, so hopefully that
Yeah,
answers
it's
those
bright.
questions. Whew, I'm
Well,
blind now.
As we
Wow.
discussed, it's a must, guys. You got to get these things if you got a jet. That's just, it's a must.
I can't get over how bright they are. If you look at this thing, you're blind.
Yeah.
And it's not coming across in camera, but it is flickering right now. I was hoping I could make it show that somehow, but it is actually flickering.
It's flickering right now.
And then, like I said, you go to full brightness, and now it's a solid.
Solid.
Man, I looked at it right then. I am
I
blind.
can't look at it. That thing is bright.
Yeah, be careful.
Anyway, I'm going to unplug all that now.
I got spots in front of my eyes now.
It's not pulsating at full, Dave. It's more whenever it first comes on in that low range, it kind of pulsates. When it gets to the full throttle, it seems like it's more of a steady fire to me.
Yep.
And of course, I know this man is going to stand behind a product if you have any issues with them.
Do you have, what kind of warranty program do you have with these?
Unlimited. Whenever, I've shipped probably 350 units so far.
Uh-huh.
every time there was a problem, I don't ask questions, just replace them.
Right, and that's a good policy to have, and kudos to you if that's your policy on that, because you are going to be a very popular place. When they fight you on that kind of stuff, it's just, give them the cookie. That was the thing. I took a class on that a long time ago. If you have a problem,
Exactly. I even had people crash the planes, and I replaced the unit with no question asked.
yeah. So, cool, guys. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about on your afterburners before we get into this?
Well, I just wish to thank you guys. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak about my afterburners in your show. You've got an awesome show.
Thank you so much for being a
Thank you
guest,
so much.
and we've really enjoyed your product. The boozers have always said if we're going to do something, we want to be able to stand behind it, and I've had a little bit of time to play with these. This looks like an awesome product, guys. The fit, I took it out, popped it on. You can see, I just literally popped that on there. You throw the zip tie around it, and you're ready to go. And then I've got the F-18 one here. I can't wait to try them. So when y'all see the F-18 video, and I will definitely do an install video on the F-16. I got to make it through Joe Null first. But I will be showing these off like crazy. I'm loving it. I plan on putting these in all kinds of our airplanes. Like I said, I love it, man. This is a product I can definitely get behind.
And you guys go out and buy some of these.
Yeah, get one of these, guys.
You gotta. We would tell you the wrong thing. This
cool.
guy's doing something. You can tell he's an RCer by looking in the back.
Right. Look at the airplanes
man is
everywhere.
Just not selling these things.
He's loving them.
He's
So,
one of these guys that really love what
I will say we got a bunch of questions popping off. Do you make any of these for 64mm airplanes?
I do plan on making those for 64mm EDF planes. There will be a different type of LED. Obviously, this is bigger, too big. I guess too big.
It'd be cool if you could make a cheaper model for the 64mm.
Exactly. The 64mm will be priced at $40.
Cool. Yeah, I'd be all over that. You can't see them right now, but there's 64mm jets hung everywhere in here. I've got them all over the place. Well, there's one right there. You can
the
see
little
that
toss and boss airplanes.
We love those things.
Yeah, I love them.
So, cool.
Thank you.
Awesome job.
Yeah, awesome
Thank
job.
you.
We love the
Wonderful
product. I think we're going to start getting ready to get the Marlin out if you've said everything you wanted to say tonight.
Thank you very much, guys.
We appreciate you coming on the show. We'll definitely have you back in the future when you get new products out and stuff. We'd love to have it here to show the guys.
Anything new, we'd really like to have you back on the channel.
Reckham looks like he's got one.
Yeah, there's several of these guys that already had your product that we're waiting on, so you're out there.
Lori's dropping the link in the description or in the chat box for you guys right now. Anybody that's wanting to check them out, that is the Lightburner LED website right now if you are wanting one of these afterburners. Kevin's asking how the CG affects. We talked about it earlier, but there is no adverse effect to the CG by these. This thing is so light. This doesn't weigh anything.
Super light.
Super light.
Between the power usage
couple
at 7
ounces
watts,
maybe.
nothing.
Yeah.
And
There's no adverse effect of using this in your model, guys,
nothing.
versus just having the regular one. So, anyway.
Great time. Thank you for being on the channel.
Yeah, thank you. And I think we're going to get our next guests in now, and we're going to start getting ready to unbox this. Thank you so much for joining the Merry Boozers tonight.
Thank you, guys.
We really do appreciate it.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, Laura, you can full screen us. Bam. So, hey, guys. Here we go. I'm going to start getting the Marlin ready while they're getting everything else set up. Or not. I can talk.
I'm just going to move this.
That's fine. Here, I'll talk to you.
You talk and I'll move.
So anyway, Papa's been working really hard this week. He got the Storch done. He also upgraded the wheels on the Storch. He actually ended up ordering, what are they, Debro?
Yeah, they're low bounce.
Debro low bounce air up tires for the Storch.
And why I did that is because of the weight of the Storch. It needs, even though it's got
it has suspension
struts, the weight is just really. It's got to go this way, doesn't it? Oh,
no, it goes
you want to go that way? Okay. It just needs a little. I feel like it needs just a little bit of help. Is when if you were to make a rough landing with it, to take some of the stress off of the gear.
Definitely.
It's built really well.
It is.
I'm just overconscious about things like that. So anyway,
I think they're going to add a lot. It's really cool how squishy they are and stuff.
you know, the tires cost $14. So who
Right.
cares?
Who cares? Right. But I've really been happy with that. We got the A4 built this week, and it was really cool looking too. I've really been impressed with that A4. The A4 is a phenomenal jet. Here, I'm going to move this down so we can see over it. But the A4, no, it's good right there. They can see the picture.
Yeah, okay.
The A4, the finish on that airplane, and just the airplane itself, even Dad was saying, he was like, man, this is what I really want to keep. You know, and
the A4.
to be honest, our friend Kevin Farros was the one that bought the A4, and he's been so kind to let us use it. But
it looks like a hot rod.
it looks like a kind of plane I'd want to keep, though. I mean, after getting it together, it is beautiful, guys.
I don't know if Papa has the skills.
I don't know yet either.
I mean,
we'll find out. He'll fly
back
it.
in the day, maybe, but I don't know. That's the only thing about some of these jets. I'm 66 years old, so I try, but it might bite Papa.
It is. And I'll tell you, we got it sitting over there. It's just a beautiful airplane, and we did the cut. Well, yeah. While we're waiting for everybody to get in, Dad will run over there and grab it. It's sitting over there on the ground. We've been working on it.
Ordered Cali graphics for it, so we'll just.
The only thing I haven't got done yet for it is the tail. He's going to grab it real quick while we're getting our guests set up, and we'll show you that. But I've been really impressed with it. I did the F-104, and then Dad Papa-dotted it this week, and that thing is coming out phenomenal. I'm in love with it, and I'm going to get the light burner guy to get me an afterburner for that one. But check out the A4. Here it comes. Check it out. I haven't done the tail yet, but the side is all done. We've got the stickers on it, and I love this thing. And I love the fact they did that, where it's just magnetic to make it either model. It's just such a good airplane. Anyway,
yeah,
I'm really digging the heck out of the A4, guys. A little sneak peek. The suspension on it's really good too.
Yeah, it's been out a long time, guys, but you can't. I mean, this jet is just another phenomenal plane from.
Free Wing makes. If you want the hot scale planes, I mean, these guys are doing it right as far as jets go.
You just. They're doing it right.
Yeah,
that's the best way you can put it.
We're really digging them.
Yeah, between their prop planes and these jets, this would probably be my go-to airplane without any question as far as the products.
Right, they've been really good lately. Now, there's a lot of good ones out lately. Ryan's been showing them. The Havoc looks really cool.
Yeah. We got this Marlin out
the
here.
The Marlin, I mean, for a first jet, guys,
yeah.
And not just for a first jet. This isn't going to be for everybody, but for somebody that's starting out or somebody like me that just wants something to ream and have a good time with, I love these smaller airplanes, like that little P-51 up there. These are a ball to me. I don't care what it is. I've said it a long time ago.
Like the P-51, you can fly it slow, or you can fly it with your hair on fire.
Right, you can
the
be.
Same thing
you can
goes
fly
with that
calm.
Marlin
You can
over
fly
there. You
easy.
can fly that baby slow, or you can fly it with your hair on fire.
Yeah, and we're getting another guest in right now. We have a person that flew it today that is brand new to EDFs, and he said he absolutely loved the Marlin and was able to fly it good. Have you had any luck, Lori? No.
Nope.
Dennis Farley, answer the phone. Well, either way, I tell you what, Dad, let's move this off the screen, and we'll start getting into the Marlin. And when we get Dennis in, we'll get him in.
I don't know. I'm gonna give a pitch to Cali Graphics, guys. If you haven't used her on your graphics, if you want to do something that's not in the box that comes with it, check those out, because these things, I know a lot of you guys know this, but these are really
Callie really does
very
a wonderful
quality
job, guys.
Graphics on what she gives
We've been
out.
really happy with everything she's done for us in the past. I used to have her sticker up here in the back, but it was in our other shop, and I haven't had a chance to do it yet. So let's get our first guest into the show. Everybody, welcome the King.
Oh goodness.
The King Rat is in the house.
That's You're too kind, as they say.
No, dude, it's always good to have you on the show. We love it every time you've had a chance to come over and hang out with us. We've got some really exciting stuff going on together lately, and I'm super stoked that it's happened the way it has. It's good to have you, man.
Yep.
Thanks, man. Always a pleasure. And you know what? I'm not sure if we've done this together when Papa's been in town.
I don't think Papa's ever been around to actually get to hang out and talk to you either.
I don't think so. I think you guys did this the first time when I was
we
on
did the
road,
F-35, and he was out in Maine. He was out hanging out with Dave's RC. Too good to be down his own show.
But
I think we might have tried it once, and it was a.
We did
nightmare.
once, and we had
Our very first one. I think the very first one when he was on, I was here. Maybe I don't.
We didn't know what we were doing. We've learned so much since then, haven't we?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Well, you have.
For one thing, we have headphones now.
Hey,
that's nice.
I mean, this is just awesome to me. What we're doing here and how we're presenting it. I hope everybody out there in
everybody out in
RC
YouTube
land
land is loving what we're
hoping
doing
what
for them.
we're trying to bring them, and I know you're trying just as hard. You and Wesley are always in conversations on what we can bring to the people, and it's a kind of a joint. A lot of people want to know if there's a joint venture here between the Boozers and Pilot Ryan in the background, and we really are trying to bring you guys some just
stuff that nobody else is doing in our
you know what? I agree. We're better together. It's neat. You know, it's kind of live streaming. I mean, 5 years ago, if you told somebody they'd be able to broadcast from their basement theater or whatever,
right,
you'd think they were full of it. So I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And then it's the best way you could augment the community of the YouTube experience. So all of a sudden we get a really hang out with everybody in a two-sided, reciprocal way, rather than always just a finished piece, which is totally cool. I mean, that's why I think we're all here on YouTube in the first place. But boy, what a cool thing.
Well, another thing that I think is so cool that we've got both of us on there, then we are able to bring on a guest at the same time.
Oh yeah, I mean, we get Ryan,
bring one of these guys that we've seen all the time and bring his face on here and kind of chat with them. I think that's
the coolest thing. Yeah. So guys, we're trying to get Dennis in here right now. We're having some technical difficulties.
Yep.
We want Dennis in here to tell us how it was to fly this for his first EDF jet ever.
But we did see Pilot Ryan fly this.
Yeah, we have seen Pilot Ryan fly it. I don't think we have
Yes.
any videos queued up of it right at the moment.
That's fine.
Nah, but you know, of course you can go check that out on the Pilot Ryan Captain Mike YouTube.
Sure.
Yep, exactly. So we flew it, and then we had Bobby Committa fly it. But I tell you what, I was, talking about the background, Papa Boozer, we kind of worked this show out together where, there he is, where we were going to, you're going to get into a Marlin unboxing. I've, obviously was the first one with experience with one. And then one of the community of Hanger Rats, good friend, family deal like yourself, Dennis and Mitchell popped for their first. Yeah, they popped for their first EDFs, and so it's cool.
What you're talking about is not only our opinion; you get two other opinions.
We get all these opinions. I mean, it's so cool.
And the guys can make a good opinion whether they want to buy one or not. But it's a very, very unbiased. With three people on here,
we got five on here right now.
Well, man, what can you ask for? I couldn't ask for anything else.
So
I was looking for a review.
Dennis is in here now. Dennis, come on and say hi. Is this your son with you right now? I haven't got to meet the Farley clan yet.
Hi guys, can you hear us
we
all
can
right?
hear you good.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Well, good. I just want to let you know we were so excited about being on the show tonight that I went out and got a new microphone so you'd be sure and hear
Oh
us.
man, well we can hear you great right now.
You're banging us.
Can you see that?
Look at that!
What is
Oh
it?
man! let me hold up my can. Hang on. Here, wait.
It's a can of beans, isn't it?
I can hear you.
No, I went all out. I popped for a can of pedigree just so I could be good
Pedigree.
friends.
Well, it's doing a wonderful job.
That's hilarious.
Oh man.
You know, I've always boasted about how technical minded Mitchell is, and that's proof right there. That's the kind of phones they have too. So when I tried to reach out to Dennis on the telephone in Texas, I had to get close enough where our cup on a string would reach.
Right, I only have so much string.
That's it.
By the way, I don't know if you can see, but I'm wearing my
Look at that.
one-of-a-kind boozer shirt.
That
One of a
is
kind.
one of a kind. He has the only one out
He's
there.
got the only one of like that one. You're probably the only one that bought one, but I mean, but we do a thank you. Everybody that's bought a Boozer shirt, thank you. We appreciate
We do appreciate
it.
everybody that's done that.
Well,
So
I
much.
love seeing them. I'm the guy that sat there and thought, well, would
Betty
they like to
Boozer.
do this, and seeing one is just great for me, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mr. Farley.
What's Mitchell wearing?
It looks like he's wearing
I
a.
think he's got one of them painted
Ah,
wrap
that
shirts.
shirt's ugly. Now we're on the Boozer channel tonight. Nah.
Hey, yes,
I'm just
We're
kidding. It
covering
looks
both sides of the
beautiful.
spectrum here.
We gotta cover both
That's
sides.
right.
I like the way you
I
guys
just
roll.
wish Pilot Ryan had his salmon shirt on again
Does
tonight.
either one of you have the stick?
It
monkey
wasn't
pants
salmon.
shirt? Hey, Farley's, does either one of you have the stick 'em monkey pants shirt?
We do not.
Ah,
It's a good looking shirt. I have seen it on Papa. The Stick and Monkey Pants
Yeah, I
shirt
got-
actually turned out
I
really
don't know
good.
if
I
it-
love it.
but yeah, I love that one too. Of course, I had a little bit to do with it, but
I gotta get one of those. I gotta get me some more shirts. I'm wearing them out. I wear them all the time.
I know. I actually, my Lucky Strike shirt, I wear it so much. I actually wore a hole in it up here. I've been wearing it so much. Lori will tell you. I mean, I love that shirt.
I've got I've sweated and sun bleached my Hanger Rat shirt out where it was blue, but now there's like, fat guy indications and like
Got the red
some-
spots in it.
Yeah.
The boob marks.
Yeah. Well, kind of, sort of,
You know,
yeah, man. Where the sun hits hotter on the top of your belly, because it's sticking out.
Cup holder right
instead
here.
of,
That's right. You got to
Yeah.
get official when you get a cup holder right in here.
hey, Dennis, I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like this is old home week, since you live pretty close to my old hometown. We talked about it one time.
These
I
Texans.
always want to put you in Turkey, but you don't actually live in
Right.
Turkey, Texas. You live in. Where do you live?
I live in
Chicka wagga wagga
Yeah,
wagga.
Kennequay, yeah. But it's right really close.
10 miles from
10
Turkey.
miles from Turkey. And boy, guys, if you don't know where we're talking about Central Texas and mesquites and cactus and the wonderful world of dust storms. You do get a
we're so far out in the country. It hadn't been long since we used a can and string to talk.
Yep.
Yeah, it hadn't been that long.
Well, like I say, Dennis is possibly about 80 miles north of our hometown, maybe something like that. 80 to 100
No,
miles.
actually probably about 120 miles,
Okay.
maybe a little further. We're about 90 miles north of Lubbock.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I know right where you are. So you're up near Amarillo kind of area.
Yeah, they're kind of over on the east side. But anyway.
Anyway, yeah, not to tell you that's too much.
But me and Dennis was talking about a guy that we know and you know very well, a guy named Nix.
Oh, Jody Nix.
And he goes to Turkey, Texas every year for the Bob Wells reunion every year. But anyway.
It's a small world,
it's
isn't
a
it,
small
Dennis?
world. That's what I'm trying to get at, guys.
Well, all right. Well, let's get into unboxing this plane. Lori, if you'll do me a favor, make us full screen of them in the corners real quick so that we can get into the box. And I'm going to let you and Ryan discuss your first flight with your Marlin today.
All right, I'm going to give you fair warning, Wesley.
Okay.
When you unbox this, the screws are hid in the little styrofoam flap that covers the top of the wing.
Okay.
Okay.
No, make it the top view, Lori. She's getting into it right now of how to do this. There you go. Make that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Hey.
Boozer.
All right, here we go, guys.
Dennis called me raising holy hell. He thought he didn't have screws in his box. And then Mitchell figured it out. So there's the Marlin, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to narrate a little bit, I guess, while Wesley is unboxing this beast.
Sounds great to me.
So I think one of the most exciting things about the Marlin's release for me was that here's a good 4S jet that's a sport jet made to fly well, not made to look like a scaled jet. So if you got an entry-level to jet person who you have to recommend something to, not everybody's ready to go 6S. And I talk extensively with Dennis about all kinds of things, but that was one of the things. I know he's not the only guy who feels like they're watching all these cool jets from the sideline. So we did our work on the Marlin. Dennis and Mitchell popped on one. And Dennis, I want you to start from the beginning. Both of you guys go through and tell us just start at the beginning. You saw Pilot Ryan and you're like, I gotta have it. And then I'm kind of kidding. And then how'd it go for you once you received it? It built well. And then we want to know about your first flight experiences and then your other flights where you really felt like you owned the son of a gun.
Okay, so I actually did see it first from you. You'd kind of talk with me a bit about it. I'm a die-hard warbird guy. I've got lots of different kinds of warbirds. Really wasn't ready to go for the $100 a battery 6S thing, but I kind of wanted to try a jet. And after talking to you and seeing it on your show, we went ahead and decided to get one. Seemed like it waited forever for them to finally get here. I think they had some delays with shipping due to weather over in China and some other things, but got it here, got it in, opened the box, and literally I had mine together in less than 10 minutes. I mean, it's 5 screws in the wing, 3 in the horizontal, plug everything up, you're ready to go.
It's pretty sweet, isn't it?
It is.
It goes together well.
The design was well thought out. It really was.
It's got flaps and it's got, leads. You don't need a fancy box for this. And one of the things that I liked about it was that it takes a wide range of 4S batteries, unlike some of the other 64mm offerings where you're stuck with a very small
Sniff
battery.
that new plane smell, Wes.
Let it simmer a minute.
Another thing that really gets me is how Arrows is really staying in a certain size range that kind of all melts together. You know what I'm saying? They're all about. I can see their thoughts here, and I really believe it's a very good theology to bring this type of jets along, just like Dennis is explaining to us. Looks like a pretty good first jet to me. And
I agree with you, Papa, and we talked about that a lot, me and Dan, and I always reiterate to them, I think there's a segment of the market that hadn't necessarily been spoken to very much, and these planes that are being released recently really, I think, fill a gap. And then who doesn't like $100 plane, $150 plane, whether it's a jet or a warbird? I mean, this is cool. And then the guys who are really following the industry know these things are tried and true.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the DNA is good on these.
It looks like a mini Viper or a little Marlin. A little Avanti or any of the sport jets you can think of that are just the easiest to fly.
I've already know the quality because at the first of the year when they brought out the Warbirds, I bought the F7F.
F7F Bearcat, yeah,
and for the
we
size
were impressed
of the
with it.
airplane and the quality and the flight characteristics, you can't. If this flies anything like that, then, and I guess Dennis is going to tell us that. But if it's anything like that, it's got to be just one of the things as Dennis says, go to it first.
Top
So
view.
I'll let you guys talk.
Yep, top view. We're gonna get unboxing.
Okay. Yeah, Dennis, tell us about your first flight, and then tell us about Mitchell's. Or Mitchell, tell us about your stuff.
Okay. So when I went to set it up, I looked at the throws in the book, and I had talked to you a little bit. And when I set it, I thought the throws might be a little light. So I went on I'm setting up on a Spectrum DX6. So I started out with 60% for my low rate on my ailerons and rudder, which came out measured to about the high rate on the manual. And I went with 70% on the elevator, which gave me about 4 or 5 millimeters more, I think, on the elevator. High rates, I went with 90% on the Spectrum, on the aileron and rudder, and 100% on the elevator. And I run 30% expo all around on all that. So got a 3000 battery. I'm running an Admiral 3000 4S. I think it's a 35C, just a standard Admiral battery. And I put it about an inch back from the very front wall of the battery bay, which made it a little nose heavy. But after watching your video and us talking about it, I went with that to start with. Got it out, set it up for 4 minutes, put it down on the runway, checked all my throws, started firing up. It tracked pretty straight. You know, the nose steering sometimes is a little bit quick if you aren't careful. But I had the takeoff flaps in it, which was about 40% on the flaps on the Spectrum. And I didn't go but about 80, I think, on full flap. We had the takeoff flaps, and we had what, Mitchell, maybe 2 or 3 mile an hour wind, which is pretty rare for us.
West Texas, that's rare.
Let it roll out about 100, 150 feet maybe, and it was just stuck down on the road. So I gave it a little back pressure, and it just lifted off as pretty and climbed out. Let it get settled in, kicked my flaps out of it, and just immediately it felt comfortable. I mean, like I did 2 clicks of right trim, and it was good to go. Flew about 2.5 minutes, and then all of a sudden the motor started making this real loud buzz. And we thought something was coming apart.
Drama, guys. I already know what it is. That's the drama part. Oh no! Tell me what happened next.
So I kind of panicked a little, didn't want to lose the whole plane, so I cut the throttle back, throwed in some flaps, made a high approach, probably from 80 feet up, and tried to get it down as quick as I could, which caused me to bounce it a little bit. And it was one of those, it wasn't like I just pounded it in to the runway. It just kind of skipped off, but you know how it'll do? It'll stall when it skips off like that. Then it came in on the nose wheel and settled on the ground, but then I couldn't steer it, or I couldn't figure out why I couldn't steer it. That's where they hide them little boogers.
I can't get them out.
Little boogers.
I was just trying to show. When he was talking about it, it's in here.
See, I didn't even,
Those Texans
my box
do a
wasn't
good job
even that
as
nice.
explaining things too, the little boogers.
Just saying. There they are. I found them.
So after I got it settled down on the road and got it stopped, I didn't have any steering. So we went down and got it and came back, and it had bent the nose gear just a little bit, but it stripped the servo on the steering right off the bat. So we took it in, fixed the servo, straightened the gear up, and then we took it back out and flew 5 or 6 more times. In one of the other flights, we fly off of a road and it run off the grass, and when it did, it bent that nose gear again. And Wes, if you'll show that nose gear close up, I want to talk about that a minute. All right, there's 2 pieces of rod there, the pigtail that comes down, and it doesn't bend too bad, but there's another rod that goes from that collar up into the fuselage that's actually the steering arm.
Hang on.
That piece is really soft, and it bends right there at the bottom of that plastic bushing that it goes through.
Oh,
Right at the top of that metal
Yeah.
collar. Okay, after you straighten that about 2 or 3 times, that will break. And the reason I think it does is where the set screw goes in on that collar, they have a flat ground on both sides of that steering arm, and it is really thin right there. And
Yeah.
that's right where mine broke.
Yep.
So we changed that out, repaired it, and then we didn't have much trouble with it after that. I mean, my second flight, I kind of got into the rolls a little bit. And then my third battery, I was doing loops, rolls, did a stall turn with it. The inverted was good.
You know, that
Took a little
second
down
day,
pressure.
it was like it was a different day, wasn't it? So,
Right. We did the first
oh no.
flight right at sundown or a little before on Friday. Then Saturday morning, we went out and flew 6 more batteries through it.
That, you know, when I talked to you that second day, before we even spoke about any details, I already knew you had had a good day because the way just your voice, you loved it.
It was
And
amazing.
look at Wesley, look at that. That's brass threaded inserts for those wing bolts. In a little 64mm like this, brass
And all the
threaded.
screws are the same screw with the 2mm head, so there's no sorting through. You pick a screw and put it in.
That's a lot like those the E-Flight and FMS screws. Kind of funny,
Right.
huh?
Right?
So you're not the only one who had a stripped steering servo, it sounds like, from a couple guys in the comments.
Some of the guys in the
Right.
comments said they take the wheels off and belly land it.
Yeah, I wish I had more time. I would want to do that to
Sure
one
do
of them.
like my cruise-in stand that somebody got me when I was a nobody.
We have another question. What was the engine noise?
Oh, forgot about that.
We got sidetracked.
sticker.
That was the first day. We come in, you have to cut the decal on the side a little bit in order to get the motor hatch off. When we pulled the motor hatch off, there was a groove in the foam. And the sticker on the engine had come off and was spinning inside the fuselage and had ate a groove in the foam.
Oh, ha! That's funny.
Wow.
And it sounded terrible. It sounded like the fan was coming apart or something in that thing.
That's crazy.
So it was just a sticker on the fan unit, right?
It's on the motor.
So-
It was
Right.
actually on the
On the
motor
motor,
casing.
not
It
the
had all
fan.
the motor
Okay.
information.
Hey, do me a favor, Papa Booze. We're gonna put this together while y'all are talking too. Y'all don't worry about us. We're gonna get this thing put together though. It looks.
Well,
Dude,
remember,
it's
Wes,
easy.
it's less than a 10-minute build. You're on the clock, brother.
What's a build?
Do the wheels. Yeah, assembly, dude, assembly. Hey, I didn't even have a manual with mine.
Okay,
Mine
I
didn't
see
come in a box
the
like
tricky
that.
part here is getting. Well, I don't know how to show you, but getting the wires from down there up into here.
Put the receiver on the wing and then stuff the whole thing
What?
through.
The receiver won't go through the hole on it, I don't think.
It will if you got a knife like Dennis Farley who kills boars with his
That's right,
bare
the
hands.
shark killer.
I used a pair of forceps and reached
I
back
think
there
that's
and
what
pulled
I'm
mine.
about to do. Actually,
It's a nice
You'll
little
also
build.
kind of need a small screwdriver flat blade when you put the horizontal in
I
to
can't
work
see.
the connectors for the
Can you
elevator
see
up
up
into
in
the
there
little
if I hold
slot
the
and
wing?
the rudder.
Here, here you go. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Me and Dad will fumble with this
There
for
was
a
a
minute.
question about that sticker.
Whoa, wait a minute.
The sticker that
Timer's
Alright,
running.
reach up in there and
Wesley.
grab those
sticker that
wires.
came off, was it the ID of the motor or was it just like a random sticker on the motor?
Did y'all hear that? The motor that the sticker motor that came off. Hang on, you're pulling everything under the moon, but not the right thing.
What about the sticker on the motor?
Which one? Which
wait,
sticker
wait,
was
wait,
it?
what
What
did
did
you
it
do?
say?
Hang on.
The main sticker that goes around the entire motor casing.
Yeah, it was on the outside case of the motor,
Yeah.
and it was the sticker that had all the motor information on it, and it just come loose on the end and was flapping out, hitting the fuselage inside.
Right.
Probably like a half-inch wide. Goes all the way around the motor.
Yeah, you see them on all your motors. They put a little sticker on it. It's got their brand name on it and the KV of the motor and all that.
Yanking on it
Right.
too hard.
Right.
What did I unplug?
Yeah.
That's what she said.
That is what she
Cool.
said. Don't
So
yank
Mitchell,
on it too much.
So Mitchell, how did your experience go? You got one too, right?
Yes, I did have one.
Did?
So my experience, got it built. I actually live in Canyon, so I didn't get to fly mine until I came to Kitty Quay.
Kitty Quay.
But it worked out. We got to fly them both together at the same time. So
Look up in there and see if you can grab it.
I set all my rates up exactly like he did his, and
Don't pull them.
got it off the ground. Noticed the same thing, let it roll out a ways, and I had to pull it off the ground a little bit. I got it up, and I was just starting to look at, I made my first curve, and it was kind of coming back at us a little bit, and I was just starting to make my first adjustments for trim. And
It's good.
the plane kind of,
It's good.
it's like pitched up real hard and rolled to the left, like a slight roll to the left. And it was pretty, it was pretty aggressive, but then it leveled right back out. And I thought, well, maybe just a gust of wind or something popped it up. And so I kept flying. I made another loop, and I had it trimmed out. And I was still flying, pretty high level flight. And it did it again, real hard. And I was going the opposite direction I was going the first time,
Got it.
but it pitched and rolled the same direction.
It kind of almost looked like the elevator, the back of the plane just kind of sunk, dipped down. And when it did, it would roll up completely up on its side to the left.
Wow.
So when it did that the second time, and I looked at that and I was like, yeah, something's definitely not right, And so I made another loop around, and I was going to come right down the runway, and right as I was about halfway through that left bank, and it did it again. Well, when it did it that time, I was already in a hard left bank, and whenever it rolled and pointed straight down at the ground. At this point, I was pretty high. I was probably 100 foot, 80 foot, something like that, pretty high up. But it pointed straight down, and this whole time I was probably going about 60% throttle or so. And so it's pointed straight down, flying straight down. I tried to give it, pull back all the way on the stick, try to get it to come out of it, and it wouldn't do anything. So I let it go, pulled it back again, still nothing. I pushed it forward, thought maybe I could get it to go inverted, if that was the case.
Mute.
And it just had nothing. And at that point, it was probably 30 foot or less off the ground. And I killed power to it and heard the motor wind down. I mean, it probably wasn't a few seconds, but it seemed like it took forever watching this plane dive straight into the ground.
Oh no.
And it just T-posted into the ground, about 40 mile an hour probably, and just disintegrated that plane one end to the other.
Oh man.
It
So-
drove the front of the fuse back and split it and drove it around the wing, then broke off right in front of the
Jeez.
rudder and horizontal. It knocked the fan out of it. It busted the end open on the battery.
Yeah, it jammed it screwed up the battery bad. It ran the battery into that steering arm and the servo and everything. It split the servo. The steering servo in the front was split open. The battery, ESC, pretty much all the
Jeez.
electronics were
Stress test.
Yeah.
I
They were
don't
like
know.
10, 15 feet away from the plane. They just shot out of there.
Ugh.
And we never found the receiver.
Yeah, the receiver was, I don't know what happened to it. Some of the wires, the servo leads were stripped. I mean, it ripped that dude apart.
So you're getting another one though, right?
Heck yeah.
But
Dad
so
was
why?
brave
I
enough
mean,
to let me.
you obviously
Wesley,
had a
turn
malfunction.
the rudder all the way to one side. It'll help.
Yeah, I think you hear that, Wesley. He's got it. Yeah. I could see it. It's all the way right already.
There you go. So what was that, Ryan?
Oh, nothing. It's just so while you were, I mean, while you did have it flying okay, it felt fine, right? You liked it?
Yeah, I mean, for the few seconds it wasn't going crazy. It sat there and it would just fly square. I mean, I didn't have to trim it very much to get it to fly level. And I mean, while I was, we were kind of watching it after that happened the first time, and I wasn't putting anything into it. and it was just carrying straight and level, and it would pitch like that, and it would almost correct itself. I would just, level it back out roll wise, and it would just sit there. I mean, there's not any wobble or anything like that.
There's
in
not
it.
enough left of your crash to know whether or not it sounds like it could be the elevator servos or the receiver taking a dump on you.
Yeah, something.
We kind of suspected possibly the left elevator servo, because the way it would pitch the back of the plane down, and it would roll to the left at the same time.
Yeah.
That left elevator servo was something.
Yeah.
We kind of tried to check some stuff after we got it back and check some parts, but couldn't really tell much by it.
Nothing conclusive, but something was awry for sure. Under my urging, and you've already written a letter to Hobby Zone, and you're waiting to hear back. That's what's going on?
Yes, I have. Yep.
Cool.
But he flew mine the next day 3 or 4 times.
I got to fly 3 times. Yeah, the next day.
Sweet.
And I had trouble getting it to come in for a smooth landing. This was my first plane with a tricycle landing. I skipped the T-28 in my my list of planes.
Sure.
And so this was my first time on the tricycle landing, and so it took me another flight or two to get that figured out versus how fast Dad picked it up.
It's it's different on a trike, whether it's a prop or a jet, and it's something. It's really neat because it adds a dimension to your flying. But it's
the flare is different with the tricycle, so you don't pound that nose gear into the ground.
Yeah.
That's right, and it's how you slow them down so they don't go back into the air. Guys who fly jets will recognize this kind of language, but that's why, Dennis, I told you before. I knew before you were getting ready to maiden. I was so excited about this for you, and I was like, man, check out the BAE Hawk videos, check out the Yak 130s, planes like that really want you to bleed it all off before touchdown. Right. And it's one of those planes where I really say commit to the elevator, and I mean that on takeoff as well, because that plane there and those others that I mentioned, I feel like if you're not in the elevator, it's gonna wheelbarrow around on you.
Right.
But if you have that pitch set already, and once it starts to take off, then you can relax it a little bit. You get the sweetest little climb out, and then when you bleed it off all the way before your landings. I think I had a couple wheelies on it on my first day and everything.
Not all my flights.
It's fun.
I had the one bad landing on the one that and that was really my fault. I just panicked. I don't know why. You were thinking, oh crap, I don't want to lose the whole plane. So I really rushed it. It was really too steep of an approach. It was a little, too fast. When I got it down low, I overflared a little bit, let it hop up a little bit, and then it kind of bounced on the ground.
Well, to your credit, you were also freaking out because the sound of the motor, right?
Right. It sounded like it was coming apart.
So you were kind of in a hurry to get it down, if I remember your conversation.
Right.
Yeah. So give yourself a little credit there, man. So Farley brought it in kind of hot, but he was also freaking out because the motor sounded like, it was coming from the depths of hell.
It sounded bad.
It sounded real bad. I mean, it was like, I don't know, machine gun type sound.
That's crazy. So it looked like Wesley got his bill already. Check that beauty out.
Wesley,
the ball links are nice too. There is no play in any of the surfaces.
It's man. You know what? It's really cool when the people you line up with to work with have awesome stuff. I've been really fortunate in this, life of mine where I've been in front of products that I really enjoyed and felt good about them. And when there's something up with them, we'll always tell you. But, man, that's a neat little look at those ball links. So if we're talking pros and cons, because let's be real, right? So I know what mine are. What do you have any, Dennis?
Yeah, the pros are a long list.
Yeah.
The thing flies so amazing. Me and Mitchell were talking about it when you bank and come into your turn and you come out of that turn, you know how sometimes some planes you can just kind of let off of that aileron and it'll just kind of roll back and level itself. But
Yeah.
this plane stays exactly where you put it.
Yep.
If you come out of that turn and let off of that aileron and it's banked a little, it'll carry that bank all the way through the whole pass. Or if you come out of the turn and you have the nose up a little bit with the elevator, it'll just sit there and kind of hold that. I kind of talked to Ryan. It reminded me, and I don't know how many of you may have flown, and most 190s, FW190s, I think, are this way through the design of the wings, but them planes always just do exactly what you input to them, and they stop on it right there. There's no washout of the roll or anything.
Mike always calls those sticky because they stick. They stick and stay where you put them.
And Lori, you need to get on that plane. Do not be afraid of it.
It's relaxing. You know, I talk a lot, right? So I was talking with some guys about how relaxing it is to fly a jet that's light on the loading. Like if you are going to screw around and do inverted and stuff like that, it's nice to have one that doesn't feel like it's taking your breath away or got you puckered so hard you're making diamonds.
No,
so
I mean, it's pretty much
easy going.
Hands-off passes if you want it to be.
That's fun.
Yeah. And I mean,
Wesley, you'll love it.
It can fly slow. I mean, it doesn't have to be real fast, and it doesn't get, wobbly or anything like that on you. You can fly it about as slow as you want to.
And you guys were flying 3000s in it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we were.
So I was doing the same thing because you guys know I default to nose heavy. I fly in the heavy stuff, not heavy stuff, but 3000, 2500s. And then at the end of the day, I was out of batteries. I flew 2200s, and I couldn't believe it. It was just when you think it can't get any better, it's like, what in the world? If you got a 2200 4S laying around, I maybe wouldn't maiden with it, but it makes a good thing even better. I was really surprised by that.
Well, I've got 2500s and 3000s, all the 4S stuff I got. And we were going to try 2500s, but the wind started getting up, and it was kind of a gusty, goofy crosswind, so we didn't want to chance it anymore.
Sure, I get it.
And I was going to talk about the flight times. We were setting up on 4 minutes and flying 60 to 75% throttle. Honestly, we couldn't tell much difference between 75% throttle and full throttle. You could hear the motor wind up, but the speed wasn't a lot different.
Yep.
Yeah,
but
we both did a few, fast passes right down the runway with it, and yeah, we couldn't really tell much difference. 75 to 100.
That's the one thing about the 4S stuff. I think there's just you don't have some. I mean, it's 4S. It's not a 6S jet, so you got that 11-bladed fan, 40 amp speed control. I think. I mean, you tell me if I'm wrong. It's a good entry-level jet. And then
absolutely.
Oh man, yeah, going, not flying any EDFs at all, and pretty much all warbirds, to go into something like that, it's a pretty easy transition. Like I say, I had to work on my landings a little bit, just because the tricycle gear is a little bit different game,
Yeah.
But the bird flies great. I mean, there's no issues jumping right in and flying it just like you've been flying.
So where did you put the battery? I know you want to start off nose
I
heavy,
was running.
but did you put it right in the middle? Just kind of.
On the 3000, I measured it. It's exactly. I had mine exactly 1 inch back from that shelf at the very forward of the battery bay.
I don't have a 2200.
The front strap just caught the battery.
3000. Hang on, I'll grab a 3000.
let me see the top view.
Top view.
Can I,
grab a
Lori?
3000. Unfortunately, I don't have an RC.
You guys-
Networks. My bad.
Now, check out my videos, guys. I had my battery way up there. I didn't have a manual. So,
Yeah, I think you were all the way forward with yours.
I was probably right up on the servo's junk. Because that's me. That's how I roll. So, they always come home for me that way.
right.
So,
The old tail heavy flies once thing.
exactly. But it's
Anyway.
it's a sport jet. It's going to have a wide range. I want to get back into the cons before we completely blow past them, just because I don't think there are any cons except
The nose gear.
I think the nose gear should be a Metal Gear servo. But listen, these aren't the only people who do that.
Can you hear that?
There's a lot of companies who ought to be using Metal Gear servos on elevators and nose gears and things like that, and they're not. You got the right one, baby. Oh, I'm sure I had it all the way up to the phone.
Exactly right there, Wes.
Yeah, I bet I was all the way up to the foam. That's how I roll. Yeah, I wouldn't have gone closer. Yep.
But that's where I put mine. That strap just caught it. Like I say, it's still, if you go by the book CG, it's still a little bit nose heavy, but it doesn't fly it at all.
Exactly. And it's safe and predictable. Like, as long as it's flying fine, if you're nose heavy, the worst thing that's going to happen is you need a little downstick when you're inverted. But if you have to get out of the power or you fly it to LVC, you're going to have a more predictable flying aircraft.
Well, it's like you told me one time when we
follow
talked
its
about
nose.
that. How much do you fly inverted opposed to everything else?
For sure, man.
I fly.
I mean, I don't want to have to put
What
every.
are y'all talking about? Losers.
Oh man,
Terry, hello.
Bird. Wow!
I
gotta throw it out
I gotta
real
say
quick.
hi to one of my.
The Fred
one of my
Barrett
friends.
just gave us a huge super chat. So front view, please, real quick, guys. I'm sorry, but I gotta
Way to go,
tell him.
Fred.
Thank you,
Thank
Fred
you,
Barrett.
Fred.
Thank you,
You're the
thank you,
man.
thank you for that. We really appreciate the super chat.
the super chats are awesome. That's what helps keep these guys doing this. For us.
Yes. It helps us pay for these airplanes.
And cameras.
Cameras, airplanes,
Cameras.
batteries.
And salmon colored button ups.
That's right. Salmon colored button up t-shirts.
It wasn't salmon.
You don't have to lie to us, Ryan.
You know what it's
Be
called?
secure in your masculinity, sir.
I'm secure in my femininity too. So listen, I'm a bitch sometimes. So hey, that y'all know it, true. So that shirt is what they call gingham. It's red and white checkered. It's kind of country, and you calling it salmon is fighting words.
You can say whatever you want. That's a salmon.
So
thing.
what you're saying is that Ryan, you were wearing a tablecloth.
I was wearing
Red
a
and white
table.
checkered
Yes.
tablecloth.
Texas tornado. I was wearing a tablecloth, and there's no place like home.
Dude, but
Actually,
Anyway.
my wife got it for $1. It's like some super duper fancy shirt she got at some.
Ross is
My wife
place.
is pretty thrifty.
My
she
wife
got a
goes
super.
to Ross all the time. That's her place. The place where you can buy like Nike stuff for like $5.
That's it. That's it.
Exactly.
Hillbilly high living, dude. That's what it is. I got brand name stuff, but it came from a garage
That's
sale.
right.
So maybe
So,
I
by the
missed
way-
this, but how long was you getting on a flight on the battery?
Okay, I was trying to get back to that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We were flying, like I said, had the timer set at 4 minutes, so I was either landing at 4 minutes or setting up right
It's
after 4
beeping.
minutes.
It's time to land. Okay.
And that was on
And we were running probably 70-75% throttle majority of the time with a little bit of full throttle.
Okay.
And we averaged between 3.82 and 3.85 a sail at 4
Okay.
minutes.
So you were safe at that.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
time I had to do a go around, just didn't like the approach. It was ugly. So I powered it back up, did a go around, and I actually landed at 5 minutes and 2 seconds, and it was about 373, 375.
That's still golden. You're good there. And usually those packs,
Right.
if you actually measured them now, after they've set a day, they're probably right at 3.8. You're probably at storage now.
Right. That was as soon as we got it on the ground and pulled them out. and
Something
checked
you'll
them.
learn with the EDFs as you do this, Dennis, is the batteries will sag a little bit. So you'll get done flying and you'll check it, and that cell voltage will be 3.7. And then you'll let it set for
Right.
an hour, and it'll come back up to like 3.8. You'll be amazed how much they sag after a
Yep.
jet flight. Because these little guys, even though this one's a 64 and it's small, they still they have a lot of amp draw on them.
Yep.
And the batteries would be warm, but they weren't anything you'd even call close to
Right.
hot. I've flown them in some of my warbirds that free wing. Well, no, actually, I guess Flightline V2 190, the little
little
1100
one?
millimeter 4S, and I've actually puffed a battery in it a time or two because I just fly the crap out of it. And it's
Yeah.
actually a little faster on top end, I think, than this jet.
Right.
So that will give guys kind of an idea.
My thing is, was it as hard as everybody makes it out to be? Because my thing is, these jets really aren't that much different. If you're flying warbirds, you can handle a jet.
If you will get out of your head that you need to be afraid of it because you're flying an EDF the first time and just fly it like your warbirds, the only thing we really noticed is, like I say, it seemed like the rollout was maybe
Longer.
a third longer distance at the most. It wasn't that much difference. I think it would fly before we would put the pressure in and get it off the ground.
Yep.
But we didn't want to push that. And
you did the right thing. You really did the right thing there by because the guys who fly this stuff know you don't have to be that careful with it, but that's good practice. So you held it down, you let it get its speed up, so you knew you weren't going to pop it off and stall it, and that's super smart because some jets will sting you.
Right.
But
this
the
flies just like most any warbird. The only thing, like I say, we really noticed is if you were down around half throttle and just cruising real slow and you just dump the power in it, you'd hear the fan wind up and then the speed would gradually pick up, where like the warbird, when you do that, you get your speed right then. That's only the really difference that we noticed.
You know, I'm super happy for you. You did a good job. I'm proud of you. I think this is neat to let everybody see what the guy who's been on props thinks about getting in the jets. And the Marlin is quite a catch. I had to say that. But it's neat. And I want to say this. Yeah, right. It's an 11. It's the same. Anybody familiar with the E-Flight F-16 64mm will recognize the sound and flight out of the power system. The same 11. It's the same 11-bladed EDF. If you go comparing specs, they're identical. So being a sport jet, I think you'll get a little bit more flight time out of something like this. It's a little more efficient through the air. But so whatever guys who already have that F-16 are getting, basically that's a good point of reference for what you'll get out of this. You'll probably get a little more.
My personal opinion on the F-16, not to be a jerk or nothing, but I flew the F-16, I flew the F-15. I already know this is going to fly better. It's a different bird, don't get me wrong. It's not a scale bird.
You're right. You're right.
Don't get me wrong. It's not that. I wasn't super impressed with the F-16 like I thought I would be. The 70mm E-Flight F-16, one of my favorite birds in the hangar, hands down. But the 64, I wasn't super impressed with. It flew good. It just the F-15 flew better. And Dennis, if you're looking for another EDF and still want to stay in this size, the E-Flight F-15 64 is phenomenal. High alpha.
Well,
it's a lifting.
I'm sad to say this in front of my wife, but probably my next jet will not be a 4S bird.
You should get you a 6S Avanti if I could recommend you buy anything right now.
I think it'll be the same thing, just a little more power.
It is.
From what I've
It's a
seen.
lot more power.
Dude, it looks just like it, man.
Looks the same, flies the same, but you
Dude, you'll love it.
Oh my
If
God.
you're throwing them around, Dennis, if you're playing around and doing inverted and doing some stuff like that, you're gonna love that Avanti.
God.
It's light on the wing loading. It's got cool lights, supreme landing gear.
the sound.
Well,
Wait till you hear one in real life. If you haven't had a jet yet.
And
Oh my
I'm a
God.
perfect example.
yeah, there was several guys flew the Avanti when we were at Neffy, and I watched them pretty close.
I'm a perfect example of the same thing you are. I was a warbird guy, and the first jet that I flew was the
Avanti.
And I mean, I didn't have a problem with
He
it.
loved it.
I mean,
Well,
I loved it.
I take that back. The first one you ever flew was the Venom. You want
Yeah,
another
yeah,
one?
yeah, well,
I
yeah,
tell you
yeah,
what.
yeah,
You
that
want a
was-
scale
that-
airplane
Venom
that
was the
flies
first
really
one.
easy? That free wing Venom. Easiest airplane I've ever flown.
But the second airplane
Hands
was
down.
the Avanti, and I mean, I just
Jet wise.
it landed like a warbird.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it has no.
Well, that's basically what this did. I say that it was basically like landing a T-28,
Right.
is what it seemed like
Yeah.
to me. This little
Yeah.
Marlin.
You just have a little more speed on the 6S Bird. You're going to notice it's okay. This is a lot faster than what I'm used to.
But just pull the
I
power
actually
off.
land my warbirds a little faster than other people. It seems to keep me out of trouble more, like in crosswind situations and
It
stuff.
will.
Yes,
A
perfect.
lot of guys get them too
Ryan
slow.
taught me, if you got speed and you get the mains on the ground, they'll stay. If you don't, that's where you get into the bouncing and tipping the wings up and stuff like that. But yeah, anybody that is even thinking about trying jets, this one right here is it. And if you do pile it into the ground, Mitchell, it's $150, not
Right.
$450.
Right.
It's a lot easier to get comfortable with this than it
Trainer.
is a $400 plane. Yeah, trainer.
It's just like anything
Just like
else.
anything else. This is your trainer.
and
Get
go
used to it.
This one first, then get used to it, and then you can build your way up.
Beat it up, fly.
And so what? I mean, it's like me and Wesley's talked about. We have real expensive airplanes, but we were watching a video
yeah.
today on those Toss and Boss airplanes, and
It's like this little
You know-
P-51 up here. I have just as much fun with that little plane as I do my $600 planes. I take it
I
out.
think even Wes, you'll enjoy this little
Oh, I
Marlin.
know I
I
will.
know Papa will.
oh yeah,
Oh, definitely.
It's cool to let your hair down.
And-
I mean,
Right?
Play past the transmitter at the field with some of the
Well,
other guys
but-
that have never flown a jet.
But the good news is this thing will fly in Papa's realm, but it can be aggressive. I've watched Ryan fly it. Man, he was flying the wings off this thing. It was doing everything you could actually think of doing. And, I mean, for the guys that like to fly with their hair on fire and still 30 years old and got that dexterity all over everything, I mean, it's great. I mean, but I'm more like, I just want to take it off and I want to do some rolls with it, and I might do a stall with it, but then Wesley can go out there and do upside down and do the all over the place, and great. But this airplane will do it. What I'm trying to get over
Yeah.
to is this airplane will do
All
of
of it.
yep.
Another thing I liked about this plane is when you do rolls, and I did like 3 or 4 in one pass continuously, and I lost maybe 5 or 10 foot altitude and didn't work the elevator in the roll.
Wow. You were
That's
well
true.
balanced.
Yeah.
You were super well balanced then. That's good.
I
That's
even kind of tried to stall it a little bit. I flew it around. I got down to about half throttle, and Mitchell kind of got onto me a little bit, but I just kind of got to the end of a pass, and I just nosed it up and banked it and yanked it as hard as I could, and I actually got it a little over the wings, perpendicular to the ground, and it didn't even try to stall out of that. It just made the turn through, and I leveled it back out and continued on the other
You'll
direction.
learn these sport jets, these ones that are made for fantasy to fly good. Somebody's phone's ringing. You're fired. But
Fries are done.
you'll learn.
Sorry.
No, come on. Anyway,
Oh, wow.
you'll learn that he's running off. I'm sorry. You're fired. You're fired, Chuck Miller. You'll learn that these sport jets, though, the fantasy airplanes will fly. They're very forgiving as far as turning real fast
it is.
or whatever else. They don't fall out of the turns. Their stall characteristic is very gentle. It's definitely their own things. They're
Well, that's the guys who are flying the Avantis and mess up the landings. It's because they don't know how much they can get away with. There's nothing hard about landing the Avanti except knowing that son of a gun wants to fly, so you
Tom
have
is
to
an old
bleed
guy
it all
who
the way.
forgets to turn off stuff. Sorry, guys.
you're
I never
fired.
hardly get any. I'm old. Nobody calls me other than my wife.
We're lucky he still has a cell phone.
I'm looking forward to seeing a video with Lori flying this, like in the next week.
I don't know about in the next week, but we will get Lori to fly this. we've got Fall Nall coming up in 2 weeks. We're trying to get the storage done. there's a good chance that we will get this done. There is some exciting things to come over the next week with Pilot Ryan that might take precedence over this. I'll put that tease out there as nicely as I can. Right, Ryan?
That's it. No more, no
right.
less.
But
I don't know nothing.
he doesn't know anything, and that's the way we want it.
I don't want to know nothing.
We just the next 2 weeks are going to be extremely busy for the boozers, and although I do want to fly this, I don't know if I can promise it that quickly. Let's just say it that way.
And we never know
but
if there's going to be another hurricane or a tropical storm.
But I will promise this: we will get Lori to fly this airplane. Yep. Lori, you can say it. Look at the face.
She can do it. If she can fly that wing that she's been flying, she can fly that right there.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, once it's sorted, yeah. I mean, actually, I'm mad that I gave. See, man, I got to share all the booty, right? So we got done with the work on the Marlin, and I gave it to Captain Mike. Well, I haven't seen it since, and I wish I had the son again because I want to belly land it. I want to take the wheels off and do it. And so let's talk about that real quick.
Okay.
So if you wanted to take the wheels off, Mitchell has some 3D designs where he does. I have mine right here.
What they're
We were
talking
going to have
about.
his in here and forgot to bring them.
So check it out. So you've got the control horn, the servo arm.
Hang on, here we go. Sorry, that's very awkward.
So if you get rid of the main landing gear, you've got the servo arms that you've got to contend with. So you ought to have some covers, and I'll show those to you in a minute. But Wesley, first, show the guys the nose gear because I want to talk about how easy that is. So there's what I call a barrel nut, even though it's not quite what it is. So you've got that collar.
Oops, I hit the
that
camera.
It's got grub screws on the top and bottom. So it ought to come off of that steering tiller that's in the fuselage that Dennis was talking about earlier.
Right.
See that?
Take that top screw out,
Yep.
and that whole thing slides right off.
And that ought to come right out. So
and if you wanted and didn't want that little piece of rod sticking out, you can go on the top side and take the servo arm off and pull that out the top.
Exactly. And so can you see on, you might have to get a close shot on me, Lori, but so Mitchell designed some 3D printed
She's
parts.
making you bigger. Give her just a second.
I got it. See these 3D printed parts. If y'all are interested in getting those for the Marlin, Mitchell right here next to Dennis is the guy who designed and makes these. So reach out to him. Of course, use my link because I got to get half a penny out of it. I'm kidding.
That's right.
I'm kidding.
We'll have to get you set up on an affiliate account, right?
Yeah, I've got enough to manage. But check out Mitchell on these. It's really cool, actually. He showed me some of his first drawings on these, and I was like, yeah, man, that's it. It's just, it's the wrong color blue. They should be salmon, right?
That's right.
Right. You have salmon colored?
I can get pretty close. Pretty close.
No, these are cool.
For Ryan, I'll go just special, and I can get really hot pink.
Yeah, I heard
Hot
Ryan's
pink.
color is panty pink.
Spice.
Oh, wait, there we go.
Spice pink.
Sorry, everybody.
So look at, hey, I'm
Does
dropping my
anybody
link.
know the pumpkin spice story?
Yes, everybody knows it, Dennis. So look at, if you guys want this jet, the links are going to be in the description of Boozer's video.
Yes, they're already there.
So that's where you can get it. We're doing a couple deals with Boozer, and then he's running on his own.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. Like I said, better guys to team up with for the Boozers channel, and hanging out with you, Ryan, is always a good time. I can't believe it's gotten to where it is. I mean, Dennis Farley, I remember you from the beginning of the Pilot Lounge, and I was thinking, hey, Dennis Farley, that's cool, and I remember your Corsair picture, I think is what it is. What?
Don't give me the fire.
Yeah, we're getting rid of Papa, we're replacing you. It's going to be the Pilot Boozer channel.
That's okay.
But, no.
Me and you.
Yeah, I'm just kidding, Dad. No, but, I mean.
Pilot Ryan Pilot Ryan Network, dude. I'm telling you.
No, we've been talking about that for a while, but I'm just saying from the beginning of all this, and Dennis, you've been here from the beginning.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
remember when Pilot Ryan had his channel up, and I was going, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool?" And if I had one, and I started one, and didn't have nothing, and you were one of those first guys that supported us from the beginning too. So I mean,
I'll never forget the day that he said, "Hey, Dad, let's start a YouTube channel."
Yeah.
I'm going, "Are you kidding? I'm a pig from the sticks." Are you? No.
But how? I mean, this little group right here. How cool is it looking back? Because this is 1 year for us. Tonight was our 1 year anniversary.
It was.
Funny enough.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was the one.
Awesome.
Funny enough, this is our 1 year anniversary,
Friday
you
the
guys.
13th,
I know I
full moon.
didn't make a big deal out of it. I'm sorry. We already had this planned, but tonight's our 1 year anniversary.
should.
I know I should, but
Well,
Well, you know what? That's cool. Happy birthday. I'm sponsoring the next
that's right.
episode.
That's
How about
right.
that?
We've been talking about that. Pilot Ryan has been nice enough to purchase our next airplane, and we are going to be hanging out together next weekend. It'll be a lot of fun. Like I said,
Awesome.
we can't talk too much about it because it's a big secret right now. I like the secrets. It's
I don't
fun.
know nothing.
Good.
I see nothing. I know
See that?
nothing.
That's right. I'll sue you if you say anything.
No, I don't know nothing.
Schultz.
Yeah.
Sergeant Schultz.
I
But
didn't
no,
know you-
it's really cool to be. I never would have thought this would have got where it has this quickly. I mean, it's crazy. You know, it's cool.
well, you guys have really pushed the envelope with your production on this in the last, 2 months?
Yeah, 2,
Yeah,
3
come
months.
along.
2 months.
We've really tried really hard to
What
make
Papa
this.
needs to do is go back on the road again to see what he can. What
That's right.
Lori
If
can-
I could get rid of him and not have to take care of him all day, I
I mean,
could. Gosh.
I went away and they come with all this stuff and going, "Hey, Dad, look what we did," and I'm just blown away.
This is our latest investment,
Yeah.
guys. We got headphones now. If you've seen us in the past.
Just remember, Wesley,
Yeah.
if it wasn't for Papa, you wouldn't even be
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
I only
you-
needed him for like 10 minutes of his life.
Yeah, and
Shit.
Oh, I thought it was too funny.
What are you
Sorry.
talking about? It
Sorry.
only takes.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Lori's over there like,
But
gosh,
we did
more like
show
one.
Mama Boozer one time, and
Mama has been on the show
Mama
once.
has been
yeah.
on one show, and she showed up about that long, and you can see where Wesley's guys looks, but he got my
Everybody's me and
Oh man, you're cutting out.
oh, am I cutting
You're
out?
cutting out for me too.
Can you hear us now? Hello, hello, hello.
we gone.
Nope.
It's in
We're back again.
Are we back?
We're at the hour and a half.
You're back.
Likes to cut out.
Yeah, we're good.
Damn it.
Hello.
Hello. Shows ours is good.
Shows ours going.
Yeah, our microphone shows good right
Microphone is
now.
doing it.
Can y'all hear us now?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And here you look off and on, it's cutting out real
I don't
bad.
know what's going on. It shows perfect right now. I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah, the
I
microphone
don't
shows we're
think
good.
It's going up and down. I mean, the mic is.
It
picking
wouldn't.
up.
Sounds good.
It
now.
wouldn't have been
Yeah.
a Mary Boozer episode unless our microphone and audio was screwed up halfway through. I'm just saying,
Yeah, man.
it wouldn't have been an episode of ours.
You're overheating it,
That's
Wes.
right. We're talking so much. What I was saying is me and him, when you want to know if me and him are father and son, is whenever I start getting my little grin on,
We
he
do
gets the
have
same little.
mannerisms the same.
Oh,
Yes.
and they stand the same. They talk the same.
Poor Lori has to put up with both of us. Oh my
I
god.
don't giggle. I don't giggle like Wesley does.
Yeah, I have a weird laugh, and I'll agree with that. I don't
drives
break
his
it out too
mother
much.
nuts. But
But I have been told by RC Jet Dude and a couple other people that I sing really well.
yeah,
How much did you pay them to say that?
I don't have to pay anything. When you're as good looking as me, you can get away with a lot. My hot body, I do what I want.
Hey, that's how he gets his guests.
Mm-hmm.
He serenades them.
That's right.
Right.
Oh,
He
Dennis
serenades.
Farley, thanks for coming on my show.
oh Lord,
Oh no, here we go.
Mitchell, you're not out
You
of
wanna-
this either.
You know, we got an upcoming video. When I went on the road, I went actually to the Ubar Hazy.
Bless you.
Yeah, bless you. It's the Smithsonian Museum in Washington. And Wesley and Lori has made nothing but fun of me.
In the video, he goes, "All right, guys, we're gonna see the Smithsonian Channel."
Yes. And what was the other? This is awesome. What did I say?
This is the
most fastest airplane ever.
Hey, there is nothing but quality. With
Quality video. Thank you, MCSSI. He says, "Happy birthday, super chat."
But
Thank you.
hey, Dennis, you won't have a problem. When I bring that out, you'll go, yeah, I understand.
Yeah, Dennis will be like, "Hey, all right,
Right?
Texan guy." Yeah.
I'm a Texas guy. I can understand this guy. There's nothing wrong.
You can't speak country. What the hell?
That's right.
I'm from the
You
country.
don't even know. Darn tootin' you, Sean Gunn.
You know, I'm afraid my country is wearing off with all these East Coast people.
That's right. We need to get us some Texas on in here, Dennis. Come
That's
on,
what
turn
I'm
it up.
They love
Thank
me
you.
in the
The
South.
whiskey, you probably
That's
guessed
right.
what we're drinking in the can.
No. This is just Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Right.
Apple
You
juice.
got to take the edge off some way when you're sitting in front of everybody.
Mine
making a
says-
fool of yourself.
You know, it's funny. You can't read mine. Hey, Lori, top view.
Oh.
This is funny. So my koozie. Hang on a second, real quick. Can you read that?
Yep.
I was an air show pyrotechnician, and we were called the Blastards at the air shows for the commemorative Air Force. So that is actually from when I served my time for the commemorative Air Force at air shows, blowing a lot of stuff up.
If you ever want to be,
Ball of a time. Commemorative Air Force blasters are putting on a show. They'll fly the airplanes in right at these guys, pull out, and then they blow up gasoline and TNT to make bombs. And they simulate that one of the big things they do is Tora, Tora, Tora. It's awesome if you get to watch it.
I've seen their show at Slayton, Texas, at the little airport there.
Yeah. I actually did the Slayton show.
Awesome.
It was really cool, and that was back when we lived in Texas. Mitchell Farley, what the heck? You can't be giving me super chats when you're here.
Couldn't resist.
Man, thanks for...
He's trying to buy more.
That's
airplanes.
right, you're trying to get on the show longer or something? YouTube policy,
That's what he does.
sir.
He'll buy minutes. He'll wait till I'm at 2.5 hours and then drop $10.
Dude,
Yeah, let's start winding down.
Thank
You're
you,
all right,
guys.
don't know what else
Yeah,
to talk
thank you.
about.
It's hilarious.
And then we stay on another
but
30.
I was going to
And
say,
that's right.
if you, I thought I'd seen air shows, but until you see an air show from right under
Oh
the
my
flying
gosh.
over you, you haven't seen an air show.
I got real big into the air show pyrotech, and not to get off the Marlin too much, but
No,
I got into the commemorative Air Force
bomb blast.
bombardment group where we'd blow up the bombs and stuff. And I said, Dad, you've got to come out here. You don't understand. Because me and him,
At that
and
time.
and it's not anymore, you're right. But I had gone to that air show
Since you was a
since
kid.
I was a little kid. And I got in with those guys one day, and I couldn't get enough of it. And I said, Dad, you don't understand. You want to see the best air show you've ever seen in your life? I talked him to going out there, and he's going, what are we doing? We're filling up bags of gasoline. We're holding dynamite in our hands and det cord and stuff.
Detonators.
And we get to showtime, and he's like, what are we doing? And the first,
And they do
30
it-
seconds, here comes the Torah group,
Yeah.
all 9 of them, 10 feet over our head, just, whoa, I mean, right over your head, and then the bombs start going off, and he's going, oh my gosh, this is amazing! And I mean, we had F-16s and A-10s buzz us, like,
B-29.
Yeah.
right over our
And
heads.
then the last thing they do is the reenactment
Of the-
Hiroshima.
Yeah, and I got to shoot,
500
it's 500.
gallons of gas.
Am I breaking up again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dang it!
You gotta shoot. You gotta shoot.
Well, okay,
right?
here, I'll stand up here. Is this better? Okay.
No, it's not gonna be.
So anyway, I got to shoot what's called the A-bomb, and I'll look up pictures of it. I have pictures of it where I actually got to shoot.
a big hole. I mean, a big.
You can't tell them how it's done. It's still a secret. But anyway, it's 500 gallons of gasoline
It's a
and
secret.
20 sticks of dynamite, and it had. I think the year I did it, the police department had given us a bunch of C4, and we used it as the sound charge. And we had the Wile E. Coyote.
Just for sound.
Yeah, we had the Wile E. Coyote like detonator to set it off, and I have a picture of me doing it. It's a big honor to actually get asked to do this. And I built the whole thing with them, and they said, "All right, Wesley, you can do it." And I have a picture of me where it's like, and this 400-gallon gasoline plume of fire is coming up behind me, and it actually makes a mushroom cloud. But I've got to show pictures of that one time on here. I mean, it's an experience.
You got to put that
It's
up.
an experience like no other. And
Wesley started attending that, and the first one was 1991, if I remember right.
I don't remember. I've got the posters
I
from
remember
it all.
it was at the 50th anniversary of the end of
World War
the beginning
II.
of World War II, was when they actually started in Midland.
If you're ever in
those air shows when they were
the commemorative air show.
Well, when they were actually doing the 50th through the end of the war.
Oh look, Lori's got pictures of it. Lori's
There
putting
you
pictures
go.
of it up. There it
There you
is.
go.
Back in the day, there it is.
That's
Hey,
awesome.
can we ask for anything better than Lori?
There, that was actually the sound charge I was just talking about with the A-bomb right there, and the A-bomb is behind us. But yeah, anyway,
See?
there it is though. Yeah, there you go. That's
There you
setting
go.
off the charges right
I
there.
mean, it is awesome to be
And
there.
the picture of the A-bomb is actually on there. Oh, that's my wedding pictures! Watch out! Lori, come on! Come on, Lori!
Oh, okay.
Anyway, see
What
if
else
you
you
can find
got?
the A-bomb picture while you're
We
over
want to
there.
see naked baby pictures of Wesley.
Okay.
They're probably on there somewhere. There it is right there. Well, that's... Oh, is this the video? Oh,
Oh,
good.
the
Oh, here you
video.
go, guys. Here's the
Hey,
video.
guys.
It's not the video. It's a
Oh.
screenshot.
Yeah, right.
Ah, dang it. I thought she had found the video, but there it is when I was setting it off. You can see the Wile E. Coyote plunger.
It's
Yeah,
hot.
it was hot. It was very hot.
You know what they let Papa set off was the machine gun bullets.
Yeah. They do ash from like a fire pit, and they'd fill it in little bags, and so when the charges would go off, it'd put little poofs of smoke up, so it looked like machine guns going off. Boom.
That's cool.
Yeah. Anyway.
But I'm telling you, the best place to ever see an air show.
Yeah.
Right under it.
Right under it.
That's
It's the
damnest
craziest
I've
thing
ever
ever.
in my life. But I've had fun. I mean, I actually flew on the Goodyear blimp once. A lot of people can't say that, but I did.
Sorry that we've drawn off completely off topic, but
No big deal. No big deal.
We got
There's
to apologize for being late when Lori tried to call us earlier on Skype, too. I went into my Skype, and for some reason, it had kicked me out, so I had to re-sign in Skype completely.
as long as Lori's not the one telling me she's late, we're okay.
Oh.
Well, now, that depends, Wes.
Oh,
You got to have somebody and eventually to pass all this
that's
knowledge
true.
down.
I had to make the joke though. I'm sorry.
Him and Ryan, they're the
That's a good one.
jokesters tonight.
Yeah, you know, Ricky the Photon's been around me too much. Let me rephrase that. The Crouton. I've been spending too much time with him lately.
Bad
He is.
influence. He's a
Bad
influence all
bad
the way
influence
around.
if he's around here. He's probably on some hot date though, so he don't even hear what we're saying.
Hot
Oh.
date.
Yeah, Ricky's always on hot dates.
Okay, all right.
Right, Ryan?
What's
Ricky's
that?
always on hot dates, isn't he? Gosh.
Yeah, I think so. That or it's like he's got to go back to the home. I'm not sure.
So,
Like eventually, he's got to go check
Right.
in. Eventually.
so let me ask you this: have you guys, Dennis, have y'all looked at the new Arrows planes? Are you interested in like the Cessna or the Cub that Ryan's got behind him there?
The Cub, I'll probably be getting the Cub here.
Dude,
pretty
it
soon,
looks
too.
sweet.
I've been working on Mitchell to get that Cub.
I love the paint job they did for the Cub. I'm not a Cub
Yeah,
guy,
that
but the
is a
paint
sweet
job is
scheme.
awesome.
Yeah,
It-
yeah, that
it-
sold it for sure.
It was fun, dude. It's pretty sporty. I mean, I love a Cessna and I love a trike, but I had a ball with that little cub. I really did.
Apparently, I should have got the Cessna before I got the Marlin,
No, that wasn't you, dude. That wasn't you.
but we got it worked out.
Well, he did his best to beat the nose gear completely out of mine before he finally figured
I told you it took me a few tries. They weren't pretty.
Well, you know what? That's the beauty of that jet, because let me tell you, other jets, 6S jets, even beginner style 6S jets, they usually weigh something more. And so
They
the more
would be
they
here.
weigh, the more damage happens. That little Marlin's bouncy, you know, it not character bouncy, but it's light enough that it's not going to get beat to hell.
Right.
I love that it takes different batteries too. I mean, I remember the E-Flight Viper. It's pretty cool, but you really have to almost mechanically make your elevator throw the way you want it to, and it's you got to shoehorn the batteries in, or have a special size.
Man, this thing's got tons of them in this.
Man, and Dennis, if you go 6S, what that means is you'll be doing 6S Warbirds
And
too. So
I would say
you're gonna
If
want
I-
you're gonna want at least 5,000 packs and 6,000 packs for flying the Warbirds that are out. So if you had an Avanti, you'd be able to fly those batteries in that son of a gun too.
and you get a long
Yep.
flight on a 5,000 with the Avanti.
That's what I've been looking at. And it won't be for a little while, but when I do, it's going to be something that I can fly in that Flightline Corsair, because I'm going to have to have
He
it.
just bought it.
I
Even
just
if I have
got it.
Have to put it up on the wall and look at it. I'm going to have to have that flight.
Dude, my best flight on that Corsair was when I had a 6,000 in it.
Yep. That Flightline Corsair, Dennis, you are going to be in love with it. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's definitely the definitive best Corsair on the market.
I agree.
Dennis likes that Corsair so much he was trying to buy my Crash.
I did. I was going to buy it.
But I'll say something else though, that the big Spitfire also flies phenomenal.
I've
Don't
got
let
that
the little
one.
landing gear, the narrow landing gear spook you. It's a phenomenal flying airplane.
I think Spitfires always look more wily than they actually are. I've always been respected the narrow gear and stuff of a Spitfire, but something about that wing takes
Man,
that away.
that Spitfire is magic. I mean, it is just a magical
I'm anxious
airplane.
to try this.
The
I'm anxious to try this
Spitfire-
Hobby King one.
The Spitfire, the gear on the Spitfire being narrow, it doesn't even compare to the
No,
109.
no.
See, and I've always wanted a
No.
The
109.
109 is like landing on one front wheel and a
Right.
tippy.
Yeah.
For sure.
I've always wanted a
Man,
109. Now, Ryan, I will say that I've seen the Hobby King Spitfire in person,
Bless you.
and for scale details, that's one of the best foam models of a Spitfire that's ever been made. I mean, I love the little things, the flap indicators that pop up out of the wing. That is the coolest little feature I've ever seen.
That
I've
is
never
a cool
seen it in
feature.
another model.
No, I never have either.
It's sick.
And then it's got the fold down door and the slide academy. I mean, they really did knock it out with that one. And I'd love to have it, and I'd like to fly. I'll tell you right now, I'm challenging you to a video, because one of the best videos I've ever made is Versus. And you need to do Flightline versus Hobby King 6S Spitfire. I'm telling you right now, you want to make the video that's going to be the video, you need to do that.
Dennis, when I
Hey, every video I make is the video, Wesley.
Well, you know, I'm just telling you something I personally want to see. Do the
I
verses
appreciate
with those
that.
two.
Yeah.
That would be
No,
a hot
I-
video.
Dennis,
to me.
you know where
What do you got, Papa?
I changed over on the 6S 5000 is when I bought that T28, that Carbon Z. And then I had to have, then all of a sudden I started getting the 1600, 1700 Warbirds. And those Warbirds, the ones I've got, are just hands above anything else to fly. I mean, you know, the old saying is the bigger the better. They just fly better. I want them all. I want all the 1700s I can get. And I'm set up to do it now that I have the
Batteries.
batteries. That's the biggest transition. Sorry, guys, go ahead.
Yeah, kind of where I was going earlier is I was looking at when I do go up into the 6S thing, was really looking at doing the Avanti and that Flightline Corsair and making sure that whatever I did would work that way. Because, you know, like Ryan says, I don't have a lot of budget for it. So I want to make my stuff as usable as I can.
Yeah,
So if I want to get 2, 3, 4 batteries, then I can use them in 2 different planes instead of having to do,
So,
you know, 2 or 3 batteries.
You will not go wrong with those two
I
airplanes.
I have the 2200, 3S 2200 planes that I just love to death. And then Wesley got me into the Stuka, that Stuka that used the
4S
3600.
36, yeah.
But then again, when I bought that T28 Carbon Z is when I changed over and just loved that airplane.
Oh my gosh.
I
Anybody that
just
doesn't
love
have
it.
a Carbon Z T28.
But it also
Wow.
transitioned me over to these 1700 Warbirds, which I have not regretted, and I'm kind of on a budget like you are. I can't have every plane that's out there. So it was just a good fit, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, and then there I got those 6S, the 5,000 batteries. If I want to go into, I was going to say I went into a jet, but the
You know,
F-86
somebody just made a good comment in the comment section. If you wanted a twin, the 1700 millimeter Tiger Cat from FMS, I could see that being a really good choice for another one that would fit those batteries.
Well, I've got the Flightline Tiger Cat already, so I probably won't do that.
Well,
that makes
it's
sense.
a lot bigger and it's a completely different airplane. I'm just going to tell you.
Yeah.
It's a lot different.
I just don't see Dennis
If
doing the
you got a
duplicates.
duplicate, yeah, I could see that.
We both had.
No, I mean, I
knows me
get-
pretty good.
we both.
I get the frugality, man, and I get the frugalness, and it's like, man, if you've got money to spend on something, you're not going to get one you already have.
And we both have the
Yeah.
flight line also, and
Yeah,
we love it.
We've
got 2 of those.
we got
But after seeing the FMS, What's up, Ryan?
Yeah.
I have a
Okay.
question.
answer.
Teacher.
Teacher, what's up?
Hey, man,
Yes, sir, Mr. Ramsey.
I just want to answer Man Cave Chronicles a question he asked me. I have an EC 1500. The nose gear appears not to move much. Did you change the linkage on yours? Nope, I didn't. And my question is to you: do you have safe enabled?
Stick it in the corner.
Because sometimes that'll limit throw on rudder because they're helping you keep it true for takeoffs and landings. I just wanted to answer that.
No,
Sorry.
good.
You're fine,
We
Ryan.
want to answer
Tell us if
all
we're
the
ever not paying
questions.
attention
Yeah,
enough.
please.
It's good. This is a team
I
effort.
kind of have a habit. I got a habit of looking at the.
Well, we're
comments,
trying to
you know what
look
I'm
at them too. It's just, it gets so hard sometimes. You're trying to do everything else that's going on. It's not.
I got another question, Ryan, back on the Marlin,
saying? Yes.
on the rudder.
False.
We kind of noticed that when we were flying and running that 60% on the Spectrum, which was about their high rate on the rudder, I didn't notice the rudder pushing the tail of the plane around a lot in turns. Did you go a lot higher on your rudder than that?
You know what? I have no idea. I didn't get a manual. So I would have to watch my videos, which are excellent, by the way.
The video.
I'm just being
Dang
funny.
it.
I'm just being
Listen to
funny.
this guy.
I'm just being funny. No, so I would have to watch the videos to hear what I said them up as. I probably set up 100% high rate. Because
I think you did.
you guys remember the old days of Park Zone, and you still see that a lot in the E-Flight models too, where a lot of times the E-Flight stuff, it's 100% high rate, 70% low rate across the board, and walk
Right.
away with 20%
normal.
expo and never touch it again. And so I think I might have done that and probably thought it wasn't enough at low, especially because I'm flying them nose heavy at the beginning.
Right.
So I probably flipped to high rate and then left it that way the whole rest of the session. You know what I mean?
The reason kind of I was getting into that, it seemed like at the high rate, the rudder maybe was a little more effective, but when you landed in high rate, you have to really watch because the nose wheel gets really sensitive in that high rate.
You know what a lot of jet dudes do and guys who fly trikes, they put loads of expo on the rudder. So they still have their throw if they want it. That's a good looking little jet. I don't
That's what
care.
we talked about.
That's what we
Watch
talked
this.
about. Was wondering if that was maybe just put a bunch of expo on it, because I'd run
Yeah.
about 20 or 30 at the most usually.
Yeah, me and Bobby seem to like 100% rudder, especially if you're flying the 2200s and you want to do knife edge stuff. That's
Right.
pretty good. If you're
'Cause I
flying
didn't
the
think mine
heavier
would do knife
batteries
edge with like it is
with the heavier battery at forward, with the rudder, like you mean.
with the rudder setup like that.
Well, yeah, that's what I think too. Like with the heavier, more predictable kind of weight in it, it's gonna be a little more work for the rudder. So you could mechanically increase them.
You can get a little bit on it, but the way they did the ball length, it doesn't give you a lot of option for an increase in the throw a lot.
I
Because
see
the
what you mean.
ball length is fixed.
I got it. I got you. So you can't go. You're already outside on the servo arm, so that is what it is.
Yeah,
Pretty
it's all
much.
the way out already.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. So then if you had to, you would be in your radio going past 100%, which most guys don't like to do.
Yeah.
I don't like to do it. I feel like I'm asking. That's a good looking little bird, man.
It is awesome. And
It really is.
they did a really good job on mine, the graphics. There was a couple of small wrinkles, but for the most part, they were all down and smooth and lined up well.
I've got a couple, and like guys said, mine wasn't given to me either. This is a purchased airplane, so it's not like we're cheating or anything. I got a little wrinkle right here on the very tip, but you can't hardly even see that. But
Could you imagine putting decals on 100 of
oh
them?
yeah, like I said,
A
that,
day.
out of all that, I got one wrinkle right there. That's the only wrinkle I've noticed on this whole plane, and I'm being really picky at this moment right now, guys.
You'll screw it up worse than that. Getting it to
First
the
time I
field.
take it to the field, I'll knock the tail off trying to take it out the door like I always do with all my planes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, and I got my patented wing scuffed out of the way like the first or second flight.
Run it.
Every plane I've got, first or second flight, I'm going to scuff one of the wing tips somehow on
We
landing.
there.
It's just a rule.
I don't even get that
Nice.
far. I dig it just carrying it to the field.
Right? I knocked the darn tail and the storch into the freaking wall today as I was moving it around the corner. I was like, ah, every time.
You know, really, arrows, if you look at arrows and the planes they've bought out in the last, since the first of the year, you could almost start with arrows and go all the way from a trainer all the way
All
to
the
a
way up.
jet.
Because you could go a jet, then you could go, or you could
Well,
you could go
the
the like a Cessna
2S.
2S Cessna, start out and get trained up on that, and then go to a Warbird like the P-47 or the Bearcat. Surprised the heck out of me. That airplane is so lightly loaded that it'll hover into land. I mean, it's amazing. Are you dabbing?
I've
It's
got
sca-
it, but haven't got it in there yet.
It's kind of. Bearcats are neat like that. I think for a new guy though, the Bearcat with such long legs, you just know you're gonna bend them. If you bounce
I
it
don't know.
around a little
It's
bit.
just such an easy airplane to fly.
It's a great plane. I love it. But man, Papa's right though. I mean, there's a bunch of good choices there, and I think those 3S birds are easily made 4S, and then,
Well-
they've got it. And here's the beauty about Hobby Zone: they also have
E-Flight.
your E-Flight and
Yep.
FMS stuff. Everything that I used to want y'all to get at the Amazon store, get it there.
Right.
Well, another thing is the cost. I mean, we're looking at planes that are not that expensive. You're really
These are inexpensive, not cheap.
no. They're well. I mean, to get in the
Yep.
hobby and do what you're
That's a
doing
good description.
Yes.
is a good way to do these airplanes. I mean, I think that's kind of where Arrows is fitting in at the present moment. For me, is that they're putting out a good product and they really have a broad spectrum of what you can do.
Right. these aren't the most expensive planes on the market, but if you're looking for a good, easy flying airplane that has some good detail to it, this is a great airplane.
And that's
It's not the most Mac Daddy scale thing out there, but if you want a good flying, relatively inexpensive airplane, Arrows is making an excellent plane right now for that.
The value is spot
Right.
on, because for the price, if you didn't see one of these, you would think you were getting something cheap.
No, and it's not cheap. This looks,
There-
this airplane, the way the foam looks and the stickers and everything, this looks just like an E-Flight airplane to me. Sorry if that's a bad
Yep.
word to say, but this looks like an E-Flight airplane
Oh
to me.
man, it's
I'm an E-Flight
I am
fan.
too.
I love
Some guys
E-Flight
hate
stuff.
them. Some guys absolutely
Yeah.
die by them. And every E-Flight product I've ever had is wonderful. And this looks like an E-Flight airplane to me. It really does.
well, man, and who's making the E-Flight
Right.
stuff? You know what I mean? They've always sourced good stuff.
It's the same foam
And
that they
E-Flight.
use in all of them, though.
They've always done a good job to oversee production for the most part, and always make sure whatever's being delivered, because there's multiple manufacturing partners, but there's a couple big ones that do most of it. And we're seeing those strategies and hardware, so to say, across this line of it's shared between E-Flight, this Arrows stuff, and FMS. So it's not the first rodeo for whoever's making these planes. That plane looks an
That
awful
cat
lot.
smelt that Marlin.
That's what I was gonna say, Dennis. Look out! That cat
Meow.
knows it's a fish.
Meow. I have a lot of questions about the Marlin right now, and I'll pet the cat as we talk about it. Or not the Marlin, the storage. I'm sorry. The storage had an issue with the BEC. I did not set it to the high voltage mode. It was on the low voltage mode, and that is why we had the issue with it. The airplane is ready to fly. We were going to fly it this weekend, but then we had a storm come through, and we decided to leave her grounded for this weekend. So that's the answers on that.
it will fly again.
It will fly again. I just wanted to throw those answers out for the guys that were
and to answer you, it took Papa about
Meow.
5 hours to put it back together. And most of that was that crazy
Top
landing gear that's
Top
got
view,
10,000 little boats in it. but
Boy.
I mean, it's not bad. I'm not knocking it. It's just the way it's designed that the thing has a bunch of metal, and it's got lots of screws to take in and out. So anyway, I got a question for Dennis. You know, we get a lot of comments that Leslie and I are,
All right.
father and son. And you have your son there. When did you actually teach your son how to fly?
Oh, you started about a year after I did?
Yeah.
So probably about 2012.
Oh, so
And how old are you now?
28.
so it
28.
wasn't like
We're about the same age then.
So I tried
31.
at 10 for Wesley, but he finally learned how to fly at 12. So
13.
12, 13.
Actually, my boys bought me my first airplane for Christmas in 2011, I think.
What was
I've
it?
been wanting to do it forever, and I was still thinking back when I watched the guys do it in the 80s, and it was $3,000 to get
Oh,
started.
yeah.
By the time you bought a radio, a plane, a motor, the kit, and they bought me the Hobby Zone Super Cub DSM. Do y'all remember that?
Yes.
48-inch Super Cub that had the little light sensor in the top and the bottom. That was the prelude
Act.
to safe and stuff.
It was.
Yeah.
They called it ACT.
Anti-crash technology.
Yes.
The
And
only problem with that was when you were flying in the winter and you had overcast sky and dead grass, it could not tell the difference.
Yep.
Hadn't the world changed?
not
Isn't it
Texas.
crazy? Yeah.
And then I can imagine snow on the ground too in a whiteout condition. They'd think that was the sky.
Right? But I flew that for about a year.
So did you have
Then
some?
you got into getting to some stuff and flying about them.
I was in college, so I was on somewhat limited budget. My first plane was the Champ.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And
The yellow
And that is-
one.
I still have
Oh, yeah.
one.
Heck yeah, I have
That
one
was
too.
Lori's
Still
first
fly it.
one.
yeah.
There's a couple a-holes that did a series of flight lessons with those things.
Yeah, they did.
Them were little kids, if I remember right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember those.
little jerk
He had
wads.
his
Yeah.
pilot
Probably.
shirt on and his sunglasses.
Messing around in their garage.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh,
I wonder whatever happened to those guys.
I heard they turned into real
Anyway, I
losers.
stuck with that old Super Cub until I figured out how to fly that thing inverted on a 3-channel airplane. After I figured out how to fly it inverted, I figured it was time to move on.
So you taught
Laurie.
yourself.
Laurie!
So you taught yourself how to fly.
Yeah, I'm the only one around that flew. I've done everything all on my own up until I guess really till I hooked up with Ryan. And that's been since about 2013. And at first we just kind of touched base a couple times a year, but then after that we got to talking a lot. And so he kind of runs things by me and I run things by him, and he's helped me advance a lot in the last probably 3 years.
Dennis has really good questions.
Right.
You know, so you know what I mean? When guys really pay attention and they want to, they're just into it. You know, we're all into it. That's what's so cool about guys like, I think, Boozer, myself, and Dennis. So, you know, while Boozer and I, and of course Papa comes from a even wider breadth of experience.
I started in 81.
It doesn't matter where guys are in their journey. Like, we just love talking about it, you know? So Dennis asks really solid questions, which make you think before you answer. And then guys who know me, if you ask me a question, I mean, Boozer, me and you are together probably because of question 2. Like, I don't remember what our first contact was, but that's how
I
it
was in
always
a
starts. Somebody
hotel
asks me
room
a
in,
question.
like, somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. This is before I'd even come back to Florida. This was when I was traveling salesman. Was the funny thing about meeting you.
All I remember is you thought you met the king.
I know. I had talked back and forth. I said, "Oh my God, he actually talked to me." I called Dad up and I said, "Oh my God, this guy from Motion RC actually called and talked to me on the phone, Dad. It's so cool."
Not a joke at all. He was
Not a
freaking
joke.
out.
I was freaking
Not
out.
a joke.
I was starstruck.
The Randy Huffine, is that what it is?
That's right.
That's crazy. I
was
appreciate
funny.
that, but it's no
Mitchell
big
saw in
deal.
the chat where Randy Huffines still has his old Super Cub. I actually still have mine. One of my other sons has it, and he flies it occasionally. Vance, Ryan. That's what he
Wow.
learned to fly on, and now he's got the E-Flight T28, which he has recently put the FMS struts in because he could not get a nose gear strut to replace his E-Flight one.
Oh man, bummer.
But
Yeah.
he got the FMS T28 strut, and all he had to do was drill out the hole a little bit where the strut pin goes in. And other than that, it bolted in. And I think he had to trim the foam like 1/8 of an inch for the wheel to close into the fuse.
Yeah. You know what? I hate hearing that when guys have trouble getting parts and stuff. But that's what you have to do. And sometimes you learn stuff the hard way. Like
Right.
you know what? I swear every time I go to Neffy, I'm so used to flying in a tighter space that I usually always fly something to LVC there.
Right.
And
Plus,
then
there's so much room.
it's so big. So I had my brand new version 4 FMS T28. I mean, T28, I shouldn't be crashing a T28, you know? And so I flew that son of a gun to LVC, couldn't decide if I was going to do gear up or gear down, and probably they were halfway deployed when I landed. So I screwed up the nose gear on my FMS T28, but I had another landing gear from extra landing gear, nose gear, retract system from like a Flightline P38, so I put it in the plane. Well, it fit, except those things work opposite each other. So then you got to slave it to another channel and mix
Somebody went
it
through
and
that this
reverse
week
it
with the backward servo.
Yeah.
so it'll work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, when guys ask a question, most guys, like I think me and Wesley, like to eventually reach out to you, because if it's a question that can't be answered really easily, or starts a discussion that's fun, man, I want to talk to you, because the way I answer questions most of the time is ask you 10 more about your situation. I want to know where you're at, so I can speak your vocabulary.
So, quick question. I'm getting a ton of questions right now about the HSD jet. Would you mind if I brought that in right now? We'll see the sun back here,
Sure,
and we'll put Mama up here in the front. So I'm going to bring it up here. We're getting a lot of questions about it.
So I'm gonna tell you my first airplane that I ever had. Anybody know who Balsa USA is?
Oh,
Yes.
Well, Balsa,
Yes. They are Balsa
Balsa
USA.
USA put out what was called a 40 size stick, which was it was very simple. It had two big long, just plain old things that went back to a tail and a box on it with a wing stuck on top, and it was elevator and rudder and throttle, and that's what I started on. And of course you had to build it. You know, there wasn't any ARFs back in those days. There wasn't anything. They had one that was made out of PVC early in the 80s, and it was a. Can anybody see me?
Stop joking around, Dennis. Get one of these.
Yeah.
Oh my
Get one
gosh.
of these.
I want one of those.
Actually, I wish somebody would put out about a 50-inch electric plug-and-play
Where'd I go?
ugly stick.
I guess we need to get our benches out.
I heard you, Dennis. That'd be cool. That actually would be cool, man, because, you know, Papa's talking about that big ugly stick, but he also had a GWS slow stick, which flies like a kite, man.
Yeah, well, that was way
When those-
longer. That was probably one of the first airplanes I ever seen fly. Was
It
a
was,
GWS
probably.
slow stick, and we had a fun fly that was inside a Coliseum where you flew. The first electrics I ever seen was these little macro things. There was that GW stick, that thing.
That thing's been out since the beginning of time.
And that
it feels
was in
like.
early 2000s, somewhere in the early 2000s
Yep.
is when that was. But did you ever see any of those macro airplanes that they first brought out? I mean, those things had the littlest servos I ever seen in my life. And I thought, man,
Yeah.
you got to be kidding me about these electric. Is that all they're going to be? Now, that was only 19 years ago. I mean, these things were macro things. And they had to fly them indoors in a Coliseum or somewhere because they were so light. And
The hobby
look
industry's
where we
like
are.
dog
I mean,
years.
look at what we're doing today. This thing here is a electric monster.
Somebody keeps asking me
It's
about
like-
the engine, so I'm just going to show it. It's a JP.
It's like dog years, man. The hobby industry goes like in dog years. I caught myself saying back in the day, talking about the first release on the Carbon Z T28. It's like 3 years ago. Yeah, back in the day.
Wesley,
But
But
that's
so
how
much
it
happens
goes.
in a year now.
Wesley
Man, it does.
is it.
Fred,
he was talking about.
I was almost gonna do that shtick.
The Steak.
Wesley has a P51 that's got a 104 stroke on it, and he's going, "Oh, Dad," I said, "I don't want to mess with that."
Put an electric motor in it. Let's be done
Yeah.
with it.
I mean, I'm the electric guy anymore. I mean, I wouldn't even.
Right?
Sorry, but I.
Plug the battery up, go fly it when you get due. You go home, charge your batteries, you ain't cleaning up.
But you want to hear something funny, though, Dennis? I've got the HSD Super Viper here. This plane is like $2,000 as it sits. That plane I can have just as much fun with. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my giant airplane, but I'm just telling you, you're going to have almost as much fun with this little plane as you ever would with this gigantic thing. Don't get me wrong, there's something special about flying them, and that's why we do it. But this little guy, you could buy a lot of these for what it costs to crash that one big one.
Exactly.
A lot.
Pucker factor
Yeah, the
is
pucker
way down.
factor goes way up with this.
Yeah, to buy this one like it's sitting here is like $2,000. So, but I'm telling you, there's not a huge difference in the flight characteristics. Now, that being said, there is something magic about a giant airplane. But start with that, get good at that, go to an Avanti, get really good at that. Maybe instead go to the FMS. What's the blue and gray one from FMS? Ryan, you did it.
The
Futura.
Futura.
Sure.
Fly that, and then after you're like, all right, man, I want the pinnacle of this hobby. This is pretty much, you can't go any higher than this for an electric ducted fan. This is pretty much the biggest thing you can get. You know what I mean?
I can remember watching Ryan. Was it 2 years ago, Ryan, that y'all flew the stuff with Andy down at Dallas?
He flew this airplane. It's this exact airplane, but with a jet engine in it.
Yes.
Well, no, I was going to talk about the flex jet that you flew in.
Oh yeah, well, flew that same trip. Wasn't that last year, dude?
Oh, that's
2 years ago. Time
Was
flies
it
when
really?
you're having a good
Time flies when you're having this much fun.
last year.
And I see some guys asking about the price.
That was
This
last
one
year.
is custom built. This is not
That's
a
what I
factory
thought.
airplane. Sorry about that. The reason that this one's like
That's
2,000,
what I
this
thought.
one's it's not factory. Sorry.
No, this.
Yeah, but it's
It's
close.
close.
I mean, you're
It's just been upgraded.
you're very close. That one's got some upgrades from RC Jetworks. It's an awesome plane. It's basically the same shape as the Marlin and the Avanti. And man, Dennis already has his eyes on the Avanti. I'd never steer you off of it. The Avanti, see, the thing about the Futura and the Havoc, they're a little bit smaller on the wingspan, so they have to fly a little bit faster. The Avanti's got a 48-inch wingspan. I mean, dude, the Avanti's magic, and I've gotten to fly a lot of sport jets lately, and I really enjoy them all. But I keep going back to that Avanti, and you already are liking it, and for good reason. It's got a 48-inch wingspan, superior landing gear, big tires, nice lights. It's going to take big packs, which you're going to want for your warbirds, because I know you, man. Dennis is going to get an Avanti and big warbirds, and he may just keep accumulating warbirds before you see him get a whole lot more jets. I'm just guessing. Am I close?
Pretty close. The jet thing
Yeah.
intrigued me, but it's not really got into me, I guess.
I think the barrier for you is 6S. So once you get into 6S, now look out. So Dennis is he already likes Spitfires. He's already been salivating on Corsairs. What's next? He already loves P-47s. He's going to start stacking them up.
Hey, Dan.
He's going to start stacking up.
The P-47 to me is the Avanti warbird.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the Razorback.
Hey, guys.
I love it.
A little E-flight P-47, I fly the dog out of that.
Dennis.
I know it. Wait till you get an FMS Razorback, dude. You're going to be in hog
I
heaven.
guarantee the industry is going to just keep going larger, and I don't think they put out near the
Size.
6S 5000s models that they're going to bring out. I just.
What you doing to me, Lori?
It keeps resizing itself. She's going crazy over there.
Shrink-a-dink. Shrink-a-dink. It must be cold over there.
Yes, this is to answer everybody's question. This is a 12S.
Yes, 12S. A lot of guys keep asking me about this plane, and I'm sorry I haven't got the videos out of it yet. 12S, JP 105mm EDF, all their flight controllers, everything built by Andy at RC Jetworks. Sorry. Yeah, make them giant like that. Let's see their nose. Watch them pick their boogers.
That giant ball. Hey, you're going to blind me.
Y'all don't get to see what we're seeing right now, but Lori's got them gigantic where we're looking at them pick their boogers.
Lori.
For some reason, right now, it
my
keeps
head's going to be like that LED.
it keeps resizing Dennis right now. We don't know why.
Hey, that's why I'm wearing these hats.
We've got a this is live stream. We've got a rover in space shooting down at the sun right now.
Right?
Look.
I have fun with this every week, guys. Even when there's some technical stuff that goes wrong, I always have so much fun with this. The only bad thing about putting this airplane in front of us is it soaks up all the light, so you can't see us now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Like they want to see us anyway.
hey,
They're not here to
Dennis,
look at us.
you need one of these. Quit messing around. Come on.
just quit messing
Just
around.
go.
I'll tell you what,
Dang,
Wesley, when I get to come see you one of these days, you'll just have to let me fly
No, you're
down.
gonna have to come see Kevin.
You'll have to
Farrell.
come see Kevin Farrow's thing because he's the owner of this plane. I don't have that kind of money.
Me either.
Have you heard that Lady Gaga song about Kevin Farrow?
I've heard about it. Do you want to sing it for? Wasn't it like Mama Kevin Farrow?
It's from that
I thought they
movie.
were gonna make a crash.
It's-
Crash.
They play it on the radio all the time.
Yeah?
Hey Kevin Farrows.
Yeah, that's right. Shush,
Why
shush,
do you
shush, shush.
cry so much? That's it.
He was
It's
here
texted a few
earlier. I
minutes
don't.
ago.
I think he's.
Oh my gosh.
He was here earlier.
Kevin Farrows.
Lori,
I'm
Always
not making fun of
crashing
him, the
his
man.
jets.
Nope, 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 nope.
He made
Oh
that
no, I think he's gonna hit the ground again. There's a whole lot of good stuff
Dude,
in
come
there,
on.
so.
I mean, where else are you going to have this kind of
He's
fun?
gonna hit the ground. Hey Kevin Farrows, why did you crash again? Please don't hit the
Ground.
Ugh, boy, woo.
Woo!
Man, that,
I think I need some more of these before we start singing too much. Water, that is, of course.
we noticed a bunch of guys would give me a hard time about being so bald and shiny. If anybody wants to know why that I'm that way,
yeah.
He did it to you? What the heck?
I only claim a fourth of it. I only claim 1/4 of it.
His chrome is shiny just like an icicle.
I did it to him,
He rides
too.
around
Look at
town
that.
on his lowrider bicycle.
uh,
Oh
Beastie
my gosh.
Boys.
This is too much fun.
92.
Got to have that hat on.
actually most of it went to my daughter. She was my first child.
Yeah? I've heard that the first one's the easy one.
Not if it's a girl.
Not if it's my boy.
What?
You don't want me to explain why, but we'll do that in a private conversation sometime.
Oh,
All right, we're singing Kevin Farrow's songs.
that's right. What do you think, guys?
Somebody's
This has been one heck of a show tonight. We're almost at 3 hours.
737.
It's almost-
Somebody.
Yeah.
What about the 737?
I have no
twin,
idea what
70
they're
million?
talking
I got money
about.
for that. Farmer.
It's an old build-up foam kit like GWS foamies from a while back. This guy Wind Rider
Questions on my Marlin thing.
out of China has a 737.
Well, I don't know. I think the airliner crew could be a cool one to do. I think that I could see an airliner. That'd be fun. Who knows?
Yeah.
One
It's
day.
different. I will say
It'd be
it's
different.
I don't have much to say.
I don't know.
I think it'd be. They'd have to send me one. The only thing I want to do with it is land it
Right, over and,
and
over and
get
over
off
again.
that son of a
Yeah,
bitch.
It kind of looked like the airliner thing. You'd be like, you know, if you had one of any size at all, you'd have to have like 14 6S batteries in it to fly 3 minutes.
Maybe.
Well,
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
We'll find out one day,
I
hopefully,
guess.
right?
Somebody knows something.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool, man. Some
You
guys
know,
like them. I think
different strokes for different folks,
A
and there's
3
not a good
hour
one out
tour.
there, so I could see it being cool.
ground
Well,
effect.
sure.
Hey,
That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know. I want to like land it a couple times. I want to hang out in ground effect. I want to see it float in the flare. After that, I get rid of
The
it.
singing's starting to get rough.
oh come on, y'all like our singing? Come on, Hangar
Oh, dude.
51.
I-
In the sha la la la
I'm not going to try. Wait a minute. You're going to run them off. Quit.
Oh, it's about time to run
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
If y'all know the song I'm talking about and you plug in words about Kevin Farrows
Oh.
and airplanes and hitting the ground and
Come
crashing,
on.
you will laugh at
Somebody
yourself.
make
promise.
that video happen on the RC Pilot Lounge Facebook page, please.
Oh my gosh.
If you have to type it out and not sing it for us, I'll understand, I guess. But, I mean, I would sing it.
Ryan's the musician of the bunch.
I know.
I wish
He's the rock bander.
I wish I had time, man, because honestly, I told Wesley, I was like, if I really did that the way I think I could, I'd be on Ellen DeGeneres talking about it in a week. It'd go viral. It'd go nuts.
Jerry Springer, I'm not sure.
Jerry Springer. Yeah, he's got me on pocket dial. You know, the neighbors around here.
Man. What do you think?
So, what's up? So what, Wesley? You're about to round it out,
Yeah, I
aren't
think
you?
we're there. I mean, we're on 2.5 hours. There's only so much time in a night for these guys. Dude, I've had so much fun tonight. I could actually go longer on this one.
I really enjoyed this.
I've been having
tonight,
so much
guys.
fun.
It's been a special night for us.
It's one thing to sit here and talk to a camera, but when you actually get to talk to physical people, it's just so much fun to me. You know, there's just something about it. I mean, talking to you, Dennis, in the chat is one thing, but I mean, I'm getting to talk to you in real life, and it's so cool. And Ryan, and I mean, I hope you guys that are out there in TV land are really enjoying this. I mean, we're 5 buddies here sitting here talking about RC planes, which is, I mean, that's what I've always envisioned this as is, hey, I couldn't get to the field, but
Well,
I
I guess
hang
it
out
was
with
a
my
big
buddies.
honor for us
Yeah?
to be here on your 1-year show.
Well, thank you.
Hey, you know, we didn't even plan it that way.
You know, I didn't think about that. I was driving over here, and on the radio it says, you know, it's special day. It's Friday the 13th.
Right.
And it's a full moon, so watch out for the crazies. Well, here we are.
Who could have, yeah.
Here we are. And
You picked
Dennis
the right
Farley, I'm telling you, Dennis Farley, he's gunning for your channels, guys. This guy's become famous overnight. Look out. He was on the year anniversary of my show, too.
The Shark Killer strikes again.
Well, you know, Dennis is probably one of the first guys that I kind of remember because of the factor. I don't know how we found out you were from Texas, but
Kitty Quay or whatever it is.
And we
There you
and
go.
the first question
close.
I ever asked him was that he'd ever been to Turkey, to the Bob Wells thing, and he goes, "Oh yeah," and I said, "Well, I'm from where I was," and he goes, "Yeah, I've been there before," so it's kind of like home.
That's right.
Old home week for me.
You know, I couldn't have thought of a better guest to have on this week than you, Dennis. And thank you. And you support all of our buddies. I mean, I see you over. Even when I look at the comment sections of Jeff's Custom RC or Dave's or whoever,
Everybody.
you're all over the place supporting all of us. So
and you're
thank you.
And you're an RCer from
right, and you've got a wonderful son there hanging out with you. I mean, come on. How good is it to be father and son?
There you go.
Daddy.
There you go. Give him
We
a big
started to
hug.
come on the air like that when we did.
Like, kiss me too. Yeah. All right.
No.
So,
What do you think, guys?
Ryan,
Let's round this out tonight.
Ryan, again, we appreciate you for being on our show. We couldn't ask for anybody else either to celebrate our little 1-year anniversary.
And we've got some really cool stuff coming up with you soon that I can't wait to be able to finally spill the beans about.
That'll be cool. That'll be cool. And
Guys,
I really,
y'all need to be
I want to
excited.
thank, cool having Dennis. I mean, Wesley, the minute I told Wesley, Dennis and Mitchell just transitioned, and not gender, but into jets. It was like a no brainer.
I was like,
man,
get him in here.
Get him on. And I love how everybody's so open-minded. We can talk about a beginner EDF and look at a 12S EDF and all still be jiving. There's no ego in this community.
What's the fun
I love
of that?
it.
You know, heck, you should be able to enjoy it all. There's no reason.
I didn't invent the internet.
There's no reason you shouldn't enjoy the Marlin and the Viper.
That's right. I think you could take the Marlin up like the space shuttle on a big
Put
jet,
it
you know
back
what I
here
mean?
on the top.
Yeah,
Oh,
little baby.
man.
Little
Dude,
baby.
But yeah, Dennis, thank you so much.
Well, another thing we want to
Well, we
say
appreciate it. Thank y'all for having
is
us.
all the guys that come
we definitely
in.
appreciate it.
I mean, I wish we could recognize everybody that's been in here tonight. but we thank everybody for coming by and spending the evening with us. And we just, you know, we live and breathe to do this now every week.
Every
So
week,
hopefully
every
we come
Sunday,
across
we're
with,
like, all right, Dad, you coming over? Heck yeah, I am.
I'm coming.
We're going to do the live show.
Well, but you know, guys, it's nice to have something that you really, at my age, you really look to doing on a regular basis. You know, the stupid thing that I like to do is Papa Dots.
He took the F-104 home yesterday and came back with it completely
as simple as that
covered
is,
in them.
I enjoy doing that, but I also like Corsair the other day. It was like,
Yeah.
it's like a kid at Christmas. So and Dennis, you got to get that Corsair because I've seen it fly. At,
You're gonna love that
Tonal,
Flightline
and
Corsair.
that thing has got to be the sweetest Corsair I've ever seen.
Yeah, definitely.
But
You know what though?
Always been my favorite warbird.
Well, you need to buy that.
There's one thing I don't. There's we got to talk pros and cons too. We can't always sing its praises.
Okay.
So that Corsair,
If you take off with the ailerons backwards, it crashes.
when you take off with the ailerons backwards, it
it'll work.
it doesn't fly worth a damn.
What else was?
If I had a knife right now, just right in the back.
No,
You
that's
notice we
that's
didn't
totally
say
where.
that. You
Hey,
used-
that's where I was going.
Yeah, I
anyway.
know, but he said it. We didn't. We didn't push the knife in and twist it.
Oh, that's
We didn't
hilarious.
push the knife in and twist it about the Marlin either, did
Hey.
we?
Oh my gosh.
Great video though. You make great videos.
Oh, dude, the Viper video, I was laughing so hard about that when you're like flying the hell out of it, then you just plowed it into the dirt. I was like, oh my god, his brand new freaking whatever.
That's what I get for trying something new.
Oh my
I don't
gosh.
know why I thought that was a good idea.
I
I'll
almost
tell-
rolled on the floor when you did that.
Well,
I know
the same
exactly
reason
why
that
I did it.
same reason I did a stall turn with the Marlin on my second battery
Right?
Exactly.
because you thought you could.
Yeah, man. I've been hanging around with Bobby Committa too much. That's part of it too.
He's putting the pressure
Thanks,
on you.
Mitchell Farley.
Dude, it's good to fly with guys that are challenge you.
Thanks everybody. Have a blast.
Before we get out of here, too, just to remind everybody, kind of back to why we were here, if you're thinking about getting into EDFs, you warbird guys, and get this plane, you will not regret it.
Yeah,
I agree.
definitely.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's one of the
I
ones.
think that's a glowing recommendation.
It's cool. It really is. And anybody that wants to get into something big like this, start with something small like this. You won't be out near as much money, and you can learn and get used to it a lot easier.
You know,
Don't get me wrong.
I think I got about 15 airplanes, and I don't think I have that much in all of them.
Well, it's not for everybody.
I mean, I'm just saying that water scale work.
It's
Have that much
ridiculous.
money in 'em.
This is almost the same size as the storage, for
Oh,
comparison.
okay.
It is. The fuselage.
That's crazy.
The fuselage of this airplane is about 3 inches smaller than the storage. It is.
Man.
I'm anxious for you to work that one up.
Dude, I'm
and-
excited
and
about it. It'll be a lot of fun.
Show
I
everybody
got
that.
I got people Zing me in the comment section. Let's do this, guys.
I don't even think we have a field. The field.
Yeah,
we
we're
fly,
gonna have
we
to go
can't
somewhere to
this at
fly
that-
this
our
one. I
field.
don't think we can fly it at ours.
Mm-mm.
The more I look at it. Anyway, guys, let's do this. Come on.
Yeah.
It's been good. It's been real, but we're on 3 hours now.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun.
Assume the position.
Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. No copyright. Come on, I gotta sing it myself.
We salute you.
Dudes, I've had so much fun tonight.
Yeah.
We're gonna have you guys back again. This was
Yeah.
so much fun.
We,
And I could talk to y'all for like 5 more hours.
Anytime, Wesley.
okay.
Alright, guys, thank y'all for stopping by the Mary Boozers channel tonight. I've had a ball with you. I hope you enjoyed the Marlin. I hope you enjoyed the Viper. I hope you enjoyed everything. If you decide you want a Marlin, make sure you go to the Pilot Ryan link in the description to buy it through his link, hobbyzone.com. It supports one of our fellow YouTubers. Go check him out. Buy it from him. I mean, why wouldn't you? You've seen it here. You've seen us review it. Please, if you're gonna do it for us, go get it through him. At least click that link and just spam it a little bit so that they see that you at least looked at it. Come on.
It's good for all of us, and man, thanks for that. I don't want to keep your show running longer, but it's thank you for that. And we got a thing worked out where we're going to do a couple all your Marlin workups, and the next thing you're going to send folks my way, and then after that you're going to send them your own way.
And he's sponsoring some really neat stuff over the next week, guys, and I cannot wait for you to see it.
Some of this stuff is new, uncharted territory, and someone has to lead the charge and is going to sit on it for a couple weeks before it starts being available everywhere else.
So if you guys want to
Anyway.
see what's going to happen, come back next Sunday at 8 o'clock
And-
on Boozer's channel.
But also, don't forget to look at Saturday night
Saturday too.
at the Pilot Ryan
Yep, Pilot Ryan.
show. Sorry, don't listen to this guy.
Well, I'm sorry, but Ryan can do his own advertisement.
That's right. This is
I'm
our
always-
show.
Yeah.
And don't forget Dave's RC.
That's right, Dave on
Don't forget
Friday.
Dave's RC.
Dave, Dave. I think he went to bed though.
Yeah, Dave's
Good
already
night.
in bed.
Wait, Wesley's working for me Saturday, so you'll see him on Saturday, and you can see him on
There you
Sunday
go.
too, and we'll
You're gonna
we'll
see
warm it up on top
next
of the line.
week is gonna be these two guys. You're gonna see us both nights. It's gonna be a lot of fun, guys. And if you enjoyed this episode, you're gonna enjoy next weekend just as much. I have a feeling,
Preview.
dude. There they are. The whole comment section's
Everybody's
counting us
going.
down. Let's do this. Come
Yeah,
on.
Let's get out.
All right, everybody together. Are you ready?
5,
5,
4,
3,
3 later.
2,
1.
1. Stick
Bye,
them
guys.
under pants.
Stick 'em underpants.
Bye, guys. It's been a lot of fun.